Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inventory. I'm your host, Joe, also known as Rinka Best Girl, and missing me today is my co-host, Spnanon. We don't know where he is. He's gone. Missing in action. Disappeared. So until he gets here, it's just going to be the two brand new guests and new content creators, Skill and WibblyWarble. Why don't you guys introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Skill, but I now go by Stuart, which is, either works.
And I'm Wibbly. You can call me Wibbly, WibblyWarble, or whatever combination you want.
And why don't you guys say who you made for the game?
Why don't you start?
Well, I currently put Tomoko. She's in testing tables so far. I collaborated on her with T. Populous, Tim.
Oh, sorry. And I worked on Megaman with Halo. He did an amazing job on the artwork. And it's first character I worked on. Had a lot of fun with it.
Alrighty. And with introductions out of the way, how about we go over our upcoming projects?
All right, sounds good.
Stuart, why don't you go first?
So I'm still just going to be working on Tomoko and testing tables. She's still not at the main game yet, so pretty much just maintaining her, writing some more targeted dialogue, seeing what happens with that. I don't have any plans beyond that. A couple of ideas. I've been talking to a few people, but nothing concrete yet. So we'll see what happens.
I am currently working on Megaman still. I reached my goal of 2,000 lines, which I'm very happy to have finally reached. And I'm still going to continue updating her. There's not going to be any issues there. But I also, as soon as the artwork is finished, I'm going to start working on Darkness and adding her to the roster.
A second secret Konosuba character.
Yeah.
Is it secret?
No.
Like you just said.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm interested just because I love writing in general, and whenever I have the chance to write more, is a good day for me. I'm putting my feelers out for any people who've done artwork and need a writer, and just seeing if there's anything I could potentially adopt. But other than that, nothing's set in stone yet.
Alrighty. Normally this is the part where Spnanon would give us his bi-weekly Fubiki update, but looks like he's missing, so. My upcoming projects are relatively unchanged. I'm not going to be able to get the updates I wanted to out by the end of the year, just because working at a theater when Star Wars comes out makes you a busy person. It would appear.
Yeah.
That said, I have been strongly considering making B from Pokemon Sword and Shield, because there was a Secret Santa contest on the Discord, and Just Rosen did a fucking phenomenal model of B.
I did see that.
Yeah,
It was pretty crazy.
Let me post it in the Discord, and then I will also edit it into the video.
Yeah, nothing gets me motivated more than a great model to write for.
He provided a README with the files, and it apparently took him 100 hours over the span of a month. But holy
that is
shit,
a really...
Yeah, I mean, damn.
It's a very pretty model, so I think it would be a waste if I didn't at least try and write for her.
Yeah, no, that is
that
very
makes sense.
detailed.
Alrighty. So let's get on to changes to the main game and characters being added to testing. First up is Rin from Katawa Shoujo being added to the main game. Stuart, why don't you start us off?
Okay, sure. So Rin's actually, I've talked to the creator, and they seem like perfect from Rin, from what I've seen. And it's a really good job. I don't know, I think this is their first character, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And I did a bit of back and forth with them, and they like responded. I think like they were like, "Hey, could you send me the file you made so I can respond right away?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Uh, so no, it's been good. It was good collaborating with them. Ren is a really good character, and she manages like when I was targeting her for the first time, I was like, okay, I was really stuck on what to actually do, and I was like, because I was just like thinking about the disability, right? And I was like, and then I like
what do you say beyond, yo, you have no arms?
yeah, no, I was like, how do I say that correctly? And then I was like, okay, no, I'll just talk about art and like different things. And I think they did a really good job of writing Ren without just going down the, hey, they are an armless person.
Alrighty.
Yeah, no, I with Megaman, I targeted Rin a bit and had some interaction. I definitely want to do more with that, but I've played the game. She's a fun character, and I think they did a really good job of kind of catching that kind of slightly like aloof, strange thought process, kind of spacey, but still kind of grounded and kind of snarky at times.
You've played Kato Ashoja, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Who is best Kato?
That's hard. I am a Hanako fan myself, but I like all of them. You are a man of culture, I see. But yeah, I think one of the things with Rin, I figure a lot of characters are going to be trying to figure out, how to, talk with her without constantly like spewing like, what happened to your arms? Kind of Stuart was just saying. But I think that with Megaman, I had kind of decided when I had targeted Emmy that she's going to be kind of just awkwardly not very sure what to do or say around them, is going to be kind of like, oh my god, I just realized you don't have any arms. Oh, like partway through the match and whatnot. I don't know, some other stuff. But it's other than that, yeah, no, I think they did a great job. The model is really nice. I like the addition of like the hands and other things when it's going through the poses, just because for like when things are being removed, just because it's kind of a creative way to get around the problem of how do you have a character with no arms, actually, strip and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
I was definitely not expecting either Emmy or Rin to get. Like, I thought when I made Hanako that the Katawa girls that would be made next would be Shizune and Lily, because their models wouldn't require any external work. And then I was immediately proven wrong. The universe conspired against me.
Yeah, no. I honestly think, like, whoever did Ren did do a really good job of the kind of sour thoughts part of her character, just like, she, like, the person who does it clearly knows the source and like went to great efforts to like make sure she was represented well. And I think when someone's like passionate about the character they're trying to make, it usually shows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so props to the creator.
That's
or creators, I should say.
Bokuman made the model, but dang, I feel so guilty for not being.
That was Sentimental Rotom, right?
Yeah, Sentimental Rotom. He's been on an episode before.
Okay, cool.
Alrighty. Next is Nami from One Piece. Stuart, what are your thoughts on her?
So I was completely unfamiliar with One Piece. And if I ever wanted to catch up with it, I think it would take half my life.
Oh, absolutely.
But
it's too far in.
Yeah, from Lord Limited amount I know about the source. Nami was one of the first characters I actually did the back and forth with. She was one of the first characters that I actually like delved through her code and stuff. And whoever made her really understand how to use the character editor, because they were like, "Hey, dude, you're targeting all wrong. Let me just tell you how to do it."
That would be Metal Atar who made her.
Yeah, and damn, it's a fucking crazy epilogue that I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to write. She needs the last sponsorship. I'll sponsor her. I need to go through and play a match with her and stuff. I need to read through her epilogue, and I was like, God, it's like a saga. It's like a whole episode.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I can already understand the plot of One Piece after seeing it. Uh,
Well, the plot of One Piece is very simple. You have to find the One Piece.
did we find the One Piece in the epilogue?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Sad. But no, it is a pretty crazy character, and it's like the dialogue is all kind of snappy. I like it. She has like some really fun, like must target and no thwart face situations. Like her kind of climate and her like I think it's if she loses along with everyone else, she then steals the valuables of all the players, just runs off. That which I thought was pretty cute. But yeah, no, I think I saw that Elena from Monkey's Island, she got removed and replaced with Nami, and I think it's like, yeah, no, Nami fits that kind of niche a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really liked just kind of looking through Nami and seeing how they would, what was it? They had some, what's the word? When you have you have something that is it's not a condition, it's a
the question stuffs.
No, it's like it's when someone has some. Sorry, my mind. I have called them mind farts. I forget words all the time. Anyway, she has that thing where when you learn she's a pirate and like all her dialogue, changes, and she's got that marker for it, and allowing people to adjust to knowing she's a pirate in their dialogue and stuff. And I thought that was kind of cool. Just all the little things they added like that allow the kind of things to kind of evolve as the game progresses, and it makes it not too difficult for you because you just got to check if this marker's been set or not.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think Tomoko has like completely different lines if she says she's a pirate and if she says she's not a pirate. Which was like one of the first things I was like, okay, this is cool. Because that was kind of not my first introduction to the marker system, but my first introduction to kind of responding to with the marker system.
But yeah, no, I think they did a great job with her as well. I haven't gotten a chance to play the epilogue yet, but I definitely need to try that out.
Yeah, neither have I. I've been busy, and apparently that epilogue is very long.
They have also done I thought they did an updated version of the epilogue fairly recently, I think. So,
Yeah, I think that he did add some scenes to it recently.
Yeah. They've made it even longer. It's 2 episodes now. It's like a movie.
Yeah. Alright. Up next is Elesa getting added to the main game. Stuart, thoughts on her?
I've actually not done really anything with this character yet. They were on the main branch, I think, before I joined, or at least before Tomoko was on testing tables. And I think due to Masquerade burnout, people didn't really people weren't really updating her. So I just I've not got around to targeting her or doing anything with her yet.
Yeah, what can I say? But just have to say it, but what can I say? She's electrifying.
Hey.
But no, I actually did some back and forth targets with her during the Masquerade, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of an interesting dynamic where Elesa was not putting up with Megaman shit, which is always fun when that happens. But at the same time, and just all the dramatic poses where she throws her coat off, and then the ejector thing. I call it the ejector thing, the button or whatever for the outfit or whatnot. Just they're very dramatic, so it's fun to have Megaman react to those. But yeah, no, she's just a fun character. I would definitely love to see more or do more. I know a lot of people are still kind of burned out in general. That's why just been keep my eye out, but as soon as people get back in and are ready to do more, I'm down to do more with her. She was fun.
I did also see that she has 2 outfits and both look pretty great.
Yeah. Spnanon's here.
Oh, is he? Is he online?
Yep.
Get in here. You can't run from your job.
Get over here.
Does he get paid for this?
No.
Can I get paid for this? God.
No, we don't
No.
get paid for this.
Damn.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, what's up? I'm right on time.
Yeah, super on time. We're
Oh,
only
cool.
15 minutes in.
What'd I miss?
We went over upcoming projects and talked about Rin and Nami.
Okay,
And a bit
yeah.
we just were talking
Yeah,
about
we've
Elesa
just
a
started
bit.
talking about Elesa. So
All right.
I wonder if I can edit it in to make it sound like you were never gone in the first place.
No one's ever really gone,
Yeah.
as we've learned.
Do you not have to do like a by podcast Fubuki update, or is that not a
The
thing?
bi-weekly Fubuki update for your upcoming
Yeah.
project cycle or part?
Not much has changed. I just kind of reposed her a little bit after fixing some stuff on her hair.
So before we continue with Elesa, Spnanon, why don't you? Do you have anything else you want to say about upcoming projects?
Isn't it Elesa?
Probably is, but I've never been one for pronouncing names right.
I've heard people say Eliza, and I'm like, that ain't right.
Well, I think it's like as in electrifying. It's some shitty pun name is all I know. Otherwise, it's not a Pokemon.
It's Pokemon, yeah.
So it probably is Elesa.
I've never been good at the pronunciation with some of the names like that anyway, so I'll
Don't
go
worry.
with whatever people say is right.
You're among like-minded individuals here.
That's good.
Let's just call her the electric Pokemon girl, and then we'll never be wrong.
The blinding beauty.
So Spnanon, did you want to say anything about Rin or Nami?
Rin doesn't have arms.
is
That's
correct.
factual. Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed.
Ah. Never would have guessed.
You're
Wait,
definitely
what?
right in that regard.
Rin, I mean, it's really just a matter of the main game stuff again, where my thoughts have not really changed since she arrived on testing. Just a very charming character, very 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 almost dreamlike, just like constant shower thoughts and really bringing a unique sort of tone and voice to the game. I feel. I mean, that's the kind of characters I like, where they're sort of talking about things that aren't necessarily happening in front of them, because personally, I think focusing too hard on what's right in front of them is kind of a sign of like mediocre writing. Like, you got to be able to expand a little bit, get into their heads a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Nami definitely has a very attractive model. She has some nice detailing on her body that makes it a little bit different looking compared to some of the, people complaining that sometimes their bodies look a little bit samey because of Kisake. So definitely like that. And of course, everybody praises her epilogue. She gets like at least one feedback report a day in the dev server about how her epilogue is the greatest thing ever.
Nice.
Metal Atar does make some pretty great epilogues.
Yeah. I don't have the I don't have the time or the inclination to try to measure up to that. I don't like Kisake, and I don't like animation.
I don't think
or, like,
anyone likes
animating things,
Kisake.
trying to slice up all their body parts.
Kisake gives me an anxiety attack just looking at it.
Kisake
it's
it's not
just
difficult, it's
exercise
just
in
time
frustration.
consuming.
I just picture it in my head what it's supposed to look like, and it's great. And then I spend the remaining hours just thinking like, Spnanon, you're a piece of shit. You are a piece of shit artist. It looks nothing like it should be. You're a piece of shit.
Oh no.
Well, it's a sign of a true artist if you're self-depreciating, so. Got any
Alright.
thoughts on Elesa?
Yeah, back to Elesa.
Hopefully
I very much appreciate her alt skin for having the best Elesa, which is the black and white Elesa.
Oh,
Is it
right.
because she's blonde? Wait, no. Wait.
She is kind of blonde.
Yeah. She gets black hair in black and white too.
Mm-hmm.
She wears the visor in black and white too. Probably just. I don't know why you really need that, but both ones are pretty fashionable.
And she provides a nice body type. Very, very like skinny, long legs model. Supermodel type. I think that's captured really well, and she's definitely really attractive. I think her writing is a little bit kind of choppy and bland almost. I think she could be a little more colorful. Some of her posing is a little off center too. You can see it as you go through her poses, like she kind of like goes off to one side a little bit, and it's weird. You should always like center your character's poses with like their head in the middle. Otherwise, they like dramatically like jump off to the side, and then their text box doesn't match.
Yeah, I plan to learn posing myself sometime soon. Just want to meddle with it. Figured I should know a little bit of that stuff. But I've heard people say that, yeah.
Yeah, there's that, and but overall though, I definitely like her. Definitely like the body type. That's the one thing that like really sinks a model is like if her legs are really stubby. That's sort of like the Kizuke default proportions, but like that's meant to be cutesy and not sexy.
Yeah, I can see
Right.
that.
Like like standard conventionally attractive woman is like long legs. You know?
Unless you're into
Oh.
like
Short
people,
stacks.
monsters, or like people with...
I said conventionally attractive.
Okay, true.
Skinny, long legs.
You are playing with two
Hourglass,
people.
big hips.
The two newcomers on this podcast have made people with notably short legs.
I don't know, actually, I've heard people say Megman has pretty long legs.
Yeah, like that's long proportionally.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Is this not the unrealistic feminine beauty standards?
You may this is the ideal female body.
Yeah.
You may not like
if you
it,
could just
but this
edit that
is
in.
peak performance.
Look at that hourglass figure.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Little shit.
I hate that. I don't like that at all. I want to remove
Yeah,
it.
like if like Megumin is short, but if her torso is still short in proportion to her legs, then it's still that sexy body
Yeah.
type.
What we
Like
could do.
Tatsumaki from One Punch Man is like the same way. Like she's
We
really
could-
short, but she has like long legs and like pronounced hips.
So next is the Chazz getting added to the main game.
Chazz.
The Chazz. Stuart, what are your thoughts?
God, what's there to say about the Chazz? He is like I didn't even
From New Jersey.
I didn't watch Yu-Gi-Oh ever. I never watched it as a kid or anything. So I didn't even get the Chazz meme, and then I got shown a couple of videos of the Chazz just to like figure out what the fuck his character was, and I'm already on board with the Chazz. He's pretty funny. I don't know, he's a gag character, but I don't know. He also works at the same time. He releases some fun reactions with the rest of the cast. And he's pretty hilarious, I guess is all I can say. He's one of the I don't think I find him sexual or anything, but I'm down if I want to have like some like humorous interactions with in my game. I'll add him in.
Yeah,
He
no,
Alright.
very much gets to be the butt monkey of every joke,
Yeah.
like of every game he's in.
He is a very silly character. But also Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very silly show.
True. Yeah, no, I watched a bit of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was a kid, and I never really watched GX, but I've seen so many clips of like from the show, and I really like the character of Chazz. Just is kind of funny in the show. I definitely feel like filling that character role, we're having more like guys that are kind of like somewhat like full of themselves or snarky, or but also kind of like awkward, or like or also having some guys that are like very bro-ish and like very easy to get along with and stuff, could go a long way to kind of getting people interested in probably adding more like male characters to their games, even if that's not their thing, just because they add that adds kind of a fun experience for you regardless.
Joe is just posting out of context screen caps from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Yes.
I totally
Ahead.
agree with like adding something to the game to have Chazz in, and having like different male characters like that. Because sometimes I'll play male characters I'm not particularly attracted to, just because I'm like, hey, it'd be fun to see the reaction from X character to have this character, or have this archetype there.
Oh, here's the perfect summation of the Chazz.
Nice.
That's him, by the way.
Yeah, that is. But yeah, no, I had some fun targeting him. There was some interesting interactions. Once again, as I mentioned before, I feel like there's definitely a bit of a masquerade burnout at the moment. But as soon as people are kind of recovered, I'd definitely be down for doing more targets with him.
Alt costume when. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is a weird show.
Yeah, it is.
So Spnanon, what are your thoughts
Yu-Gi-Oh!
on...
in general.
Huh?
Yu-Gi-Oh! In general.
Is it weird that, like, the most normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Series is about a kid who was kidnapped and electrocuted and then made an AI out of?
Yu-Gi-Oh! To me just is like when people picture like weird anime shit, like that's just what they picture. Like that show, it like literally is that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just absolutely ridiculous hair and like characters like calling out all their attacks and being over dramatic about it, and like these ridiculously convoluted plots with all these like smatterings of random fantasy elements.
My friends keep trying to get me to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm just like, oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so ridiculous that it's amazing. I'm just gonna edit in out of context moments from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Would they make any more sense in context?
Probably not.
No. They might actually make less sense in context.
I am like
honest,
more.
Chazz doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me when I play. I've tried to understand him, and he's like a windowless van.
I am confused to why they whose idea was to add Chazz.
He just seems like he's telling a whole bunch of jokes that I don't get.
Yeah, definitely would. I feel like it's one of those characters that you kind of have to have at least some familiarity to really, really appreciate some of the jokes.
Yeah, not much general appeal.
All right. Next up is Panty Anarchy from Panty and Stocking.
Is that her last name? I didn't know that.
She has a sister named
Panty
Stocking.
and Arky.
Oh,
Anne is her middle name.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Stuart, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've not gotten around to actually doing much for Panty yet, which that sounds really sinister, but no, I mean to target her at some point, and I mean to because there's a character that I think would have some fun interactions with, and I want to make sure I do them right. So eventually, I'll look over her code and look into her source and stuff. But until then, I'm kind of not doing much with her. All I know is that apparently she hits the kind of hyper slot archetype pretty well. And she has a lot of small penis humiliation jokes, which is pretty funny. God, I think they spent I've read how many lines for that again? She has a ridiculous amount, I think.
They're easy to write.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a character I'm definitely excited to look more into.
Alrighty. Wibbly, what about you?
I think that she definitely fills that role of kind of the more kind of perverse, kind of seductive kind of character very well. And that is kind of, at least I haven't seen the show, so don't crucify me if I'm wrong on this. But
no, that she absolutely is. She got sucked or kicked out of heaven for sucking dick.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I was gonna say, so her character pretty much is already geared towards that, which helps a lot. But I definitely think it's good because it's kind of does. Some people have mixed feelings on some characters who are in that domain, and it's nice to see it done in a way that I haven't seen much controversy or with about the character. I think people generally agree it hasn't been it's been a good rendition or interpretation of it.
Alrighty, Spnanon, do you have anything you want to say about Panty?
Panty's another character where I guess I get what her deal is. I don't know. There seems to be a like sort of a lack of flow to a lot of her dialogue that kind of messes me up in terms of like what I'm expecting her to say. Like all the sentiments are kind of there, if you get what I mean, but just the way it's worded kind of feels stilted.
So, like, you understand the intent, but the delivery is a little awkward to you?
Yeah, to the point where it's like kind of a pain to read it. So with so many lines being thrown at you, I tend to sort of start to ignore her. Like there's a lot of like profanity being thrown around and stuff, but it's not in a very natural sort of way. It almost, which kind of makes her come off almost like Moon. Where like I guess she has more of an agenda. Like she doesn't come off like insane the way Moon does. She's just like a big slut. But
Yeah.
like it's not, I don't know. I need a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see her taken a bit further and see what other things they can do or improve. All characters definitely have room for improvement, and I definitely would be interested to see what they would do.
I'm never interested in characters that just seem so one note like that, because it's like you play them once, then that's it. You've played them a million times. If she's only interested in having like an orgy, like that's fine, but it doesn't matter who I put her with. That's all she's going to talk about the whole time, and that's not really that appealing to me.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I'm just like re-watching the entirety of Panty and stalking in my brain and trying to think if there is any other aspects to her character.
Doesn't she like fight demons or something?
Yeah, but she's not like. But she really only does it because but she like doesn't want to do it.
It's kind of my problem with like Tharja. It's just she's just so zeroed in on like wanting to bang the player, and that's all she ever talks about. And it starts to get really grating because she just doesn't feel like a real person.
We've actually got some interesting interactions go in the works between Megman and Tharja that might break that up a bit. So I'd keep an eye out for that.
What's going on?
I'm trying to think. I think it's something about there's that one scene where Tharja puts that curse thing on Jesse or something like that. Mm-hmm. And
oh god,
Megman finds that
bigger.
Very interesting and wants to have that test out. And I think we were talking about the characters, how we're still writing the interactions, so we haven't really solidified what their attitudes are towards each other. But one of the attitudes we've been thinking about is kind of like, they respect each other as magic users and some other things, and kind of have some interest in learning more about each other.
I think, funnily enough, I have Tomoko because that was in the noteworthy situation. I have Tomoko asked Thadra to do the same to her when that happened.
See, that's nice that she can have like a humanizing element there, but if it's only with one character, then it's not really at the core of the experience with her. And if Megumin's not there, then it's still completely lost.
Yeah, it's definitely it'd be something interesting to see a lot of targets that kind of with different characters and see what other things can be brought about. But yeah, I can get what you're saying.
That's the thing. Like targeting cannot fix a weak foundation, because there's always going to be a time where they're just matched up with someone that they don't target, and it's just not going to work out. Like it's just they're funny once. It's funny to see how hyper focused they are on this one topic for one game, but then I just have no desire to ever pick them again, because it's just like, I don't know, it's weird and creepy to be that invested in me. I mean, it doesn't feel special when they get into it, because they're always into it.
If you're really into those yanderes, though.
I suppose as a lover of the Kudere, Spnanon, Tharja really is just everything that you stand against. Right. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything about Panty?
No, I think
Or
we're good.
Tharja, since
Yeah.
I went on a rant there.
I just want
Okay.
to say, regardless of anything, have a lot of appreciation towards what everyone's done, regardless, and I think everyone's been putting a lot of heart and soul into things.
I do enjoy having Revi call Tharja Jar Jar.
Was Star Wars out when Revi was? When is?
The
Oh yeah, I
Phantom
guess
Menace?
Revi was
No.
out. Huh?
The Phantom Menace, no, but she could just randomly call her Jar Jar.
Spnanon,
Doesn't
you're
have to be a Jar
breaking
Jar
the
Binks.
chronological.
It's just making fun of her name because her name sounds funny.
Yeah, I guess so.
Tharja is the key to all of this. She's a funnier character than we've ever had before. We can get her working. It's gonna be great.
Alrighty. Up next is Amy. And I want to say from DDLC, but that feels wrong.
The fourth Doki Doki Literature Club member. Here she
Yeah,
is.
no, finally, at long last, the
Yeah.
first Doki Doki Literature Club member.
When the
This-
Mask is on here next time, we should ask him why he married a troll.
So,
Oh, I didn't realize they were married.
Yeah, they got married a while ago.
Oh, nice.
Stuart, what are your thoughts on the fourth Doki Doki Literature Club?
Finally, there's a character that
Yeah,
actually-
the husband
we
and
can
wife
actually talk
team on SPNatI. You know what else was made by a husband and wife team?
What?
The Super Mario Brothers movie.
Ooh,
Oh, nice. I actually have a physical copy of it.
I would say
Why?
Amy is better
I
than the
love
Super Mario.
collecting like bad movies because they're fun to watch.
They're fun to watch with other people.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say Amy's better than the Super Mario Brothers because she's. I mean, like, she's one of the ones that she's got like she manages to hit like she's like she's managed to got some Doki Doki qualities about her, but she's also like there's something off about her being there, which I think is like the kind of perfect thing when you have an OC there, right? Where it's like, okay, I can kind of get if you were in the main game, but I also very much know you're not in the main game, and even her dialogue kind of hits that. Her interactions with Natsuki are really funny, especially Natsuki's. And also I am really curious to see what her whole collectibles deal is, because she's got some weird stuff in there, which I kind of went for, and she's got like, there's going to be some creepy shit happening with her. Oh, I know. And I'm excited to see how that.
Much like all Doki Doki Literature Club characters, Amy's meant to be a deconstruction of one of the archetypes. I haven't. Well,
And yet people just waifu them anyway.
I'll wait until everybody else has said their piece.
I would say, oh wait, no, you can finish up. Sorry.
No, I just like her kind of more ADHD kind of part. You know, I think that's a really fun characterization. And I am really into the. I think of one of the like this character could have led terribly, like very easily, but I think they managed to pull it off.
Yeah, the with Amy, I got to play 2 games with her, and I haven't been able to test as many things lately, just due to holidays and whatnot. But she is interesting. Towards the beginning of the game, I was kind of really confused and it felt a little awkward. But once kind of got to the middle or got a bit more progression, she kind of hit her stride. I think definitely like looking back and that might have just been because she has a lot of, I played her with Natsuki and they have a lot of pre-written lines towards each other, but might be worth looking back towards the beginning and maybe looking over some things a bit, or tweaking some things around. But I definitely think she really hits her stride more mid-game.
Alrighty. Spnanon, what do you think?
See, I always try to avoid testing characters with their franchise mates because I want to see how they stand on their own.
That's
All
a
right,
fair
Stuart,
point.
if you're just gonna like spit like a snake or something.
What?
That sounded like.
Oh, I don't know what that was. Sorry. I wasn't even talking.
Yeah. The one thing I can say is like people have like accused or like tried to characterize Amy as like an OC, like, oh, she shouldn't be part of DDLC, she shouldn't be considered part of them because she's basically a fan character, she's an OC. And I get the sense of that a little bit because I don't think she quite has a personality nailed down just yet. She seems to kind of vacillate back and forth between a few things, and it's hard to really. I mean, it's hard to really know what like Napsu is going for with her, because with a character that has technically not really any source material, this is a very limited context to understand them in. So there's very little to go off of. So it's hard to like give her guidance because you're not really sure like which direction she really wants to take her in.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you just made her, if you made her too,
stop talking over me.
Sorry.
She seems like really. Sometimes she seems like really like naive and kind of bright-eyed, like Sayori, and then sometimes she like gets into the dirty talk, and it's just not always clear exactly where that line is. You wanted to say something?
Yeah. So what I was going to say is that the thing with making characters that are like OCs like that, there is a bit of an issue there. Is that you want to make them consistent, but you also don't want to make them like one note, do you?
Well, that's not the same thing necessarily. You want a very clear arc. You don't want them like jumping between different moods just based on what's happening. It needs to be predicated more on like what's happening to them and not what other people are doing.
I suppose so.
Oh, I was going to say, there was one thing when she and Natsuki get kind of in a bit of a heated debate or fight at one point, and it kind of felt like, being at a friend's house when two parents are arguing or something like that. You're just like sitting there like, should I? And I'm just going to sit here quietly, or like, should I? And I feel like that's definitely interesting, but at the same time, I could see that creating some situations where it's kind of hard for other characters to interject or talk because it's basically trying to talk over two people fighting, which, if you've ever been seen something like that, can be really hard to get a word in.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I tend to just have my characters avoid targeting others' conversations.
Yeah.
You just feel like a third wheel when you should be trying to strike up your own conversation, bring something new to the table.
Every once in a while I'll see like a line or something where it's relevant enough to the character that's worth commenting on, but yeah, I do generally try to focus on just creating new targets.
Alrighty.
So I guess you like spiders?
Yeah.
I
I want to talk about Amy, but at the same time, I feel like this is a character that I need to play a lot in order to understand. I feel like I don't have a high enough IQ to appreciate the writing that's gone into Amy at the moment.
Like, has she sold you on like playing her a lot outside of just being written by Napsu?
She sold me by being a cute redhead, and I have a beating heart.
Well,
like I am not a. Look, all you need is the red hair. That's it. I'm a shallow man.
Is it the red hair on the top of her head or the red hair downstairs?
Ooh, good question.
That's really.
Why not both?
Is it the touch of red around the taint?
Why not both?
That's really driving this home for you.
I must say, I think my favorite thing about the character is just like probably the fact that she just breaks out into song a lot of the time. I like that part. I think that's kind of a little fun characterization.
See, that almost seems to me like the kind of like oh, I'm wacky, random type of like original character stereotype.
Lulls so random.
that
I got you a
want
cookie,
I think
but
it-
I needed
the
it.
character to really not fall into
I think
because
it kind
everyone's
of
just going to
works
jump
for
on
her
that.
because she has a lot of like, because she's very. I think she's written to be more like ADHD. I think that was kind of stated. So the fact that she isn't fully there all the time kind of makes sense. I think all the Doki Doki girls at least have some kind of. I mean, of course, you know, we're in SPNatI. It's not like we're not going to do a deconstruction of mental health or anything. But I think they like all the Doki Doki characters do have like something like that where they're not fully like. I think like Sayori's depression, Yuri's whatever the fuck Yuri has, but they're all
Pencil and vagina syndrome.
yeah, exactly. I think it kind
It
of works.
affects. There's hundreds of
Amy.
cases each year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 in 10 Americans.
But no, I'm really excited to see where they go with it because all I've known, I've looked through the kind of the character editor, and I've been like, okay, there's some fun stuff in here that I haven't fully explored yet, which is going to be at some point, I assume.
And I have to say, I'm very impressed with how many lines they wrote in that amount of time.
Yeah, no,
Like,
exactly.
When I heard that, I was like, what?
Naps really just went all out.
Yeah.
Forgive me, Father. Just this once I must go all out. So yeah, I'm interested in just seeing just how many layers there are to Amy.
I think it's also just a hilarious fucking troll. To be
Yeah,
honest.
absolutely.
I think that's probably the best part. It's just like, hey, we want the fourth Doki Doki girl, and it's no, you got it.
It should. It
God,
really
the
is
reaction
just
is
a
so-
monkey's paw, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, meanwhile, though, it looks like we got Stuart's character coming up.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So why don't we talk about Tomoko? Stuart, you wanna
Yeah. So
start us off since you made her?
Yeah, I can start off pretty well. So Tomoko was started by Tim. And he did T-Poplar, and he was the artist. He was he did the model. He also did a bunch of the writing. And I came on, and I think I knew that he'd done some work on Tomoko, but also I talked to him a little bit, and at first he didn't really seem like he was pretty busy. I was just like, oh, I guess he doesn't want me to use this model, so I'll just leave it and start working by myself and see if someone wants to work on it later. But eventually, you know, he went over. I don't think he's seen what I've done with the character yet, but we put our work together. So, maybe he's not done any writing since she's joined testing tables. But I think maybe like 400 lines of Tomoko's with his. He's done a bunch of like the more cringe. Like there's a few lines that people like go reports going, God, this is cringy, and in a good way. And I'm like, yeah, no, you don't blame. I didn't write that. That was Tim. Don't put me for Ooch my goot. That was not me. I don't want credit for that. And like,
No, I remember being in the room when he wrote that one.
yeah, no, he told me that it was a meme from this fucking podcast, and I was like, oh. And there's a lot of really lines that he put forward. So it's easier to like go through his lines and go like, yeah, no, this is good stuff than it is to go through my own lines. But I think Tomoko hits like this weird niche where she's not really sexy, I don't think. At least I don't think so.
No, I don't think that's a word that anybody would use to
But
describe.
she also manages to, I think, she can be cute at times.
She's cute in like
yeah,
you want to feed her a cracker and tell her that things will be all right kind of cute.
I've always
Tomoko's cute in the way that like a pug is cute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've always said,
yeah.
I've always
She's
said
ugly cute.
I've always said for Tomoko, what it is a Stockholm
Like a pug
syndrome.
with a stuffed up nose.
I've always said that it's a Stockholm syndrome, and that you spend enough time with her, like you've stuck with her for too long. You know
That's why I stopped
you-
watching. That's why I stopped watching Watamode as soon as I could. I had to get out because it was too real.
You'll get stuck in there, and then you have to like her, even if she like.
You can't let the sunk cost fallacy of Watamode consume your heart.
I could talk for a while about Tomoko, pretty obviously, because I've written a bunch of lines for her. But, like, I think with a lot of characters, I kind of have to think, okay, what are this character's, like, if I was writing a different character, I'd have to think, so what are this character's negative qualities? So I can, like, put those to the forefront a little bit, you know, instead, so I can explore the character fully. With Tomoko, you have to go, like, what are this character's good qualities? Because it's so easy to overlook them in negative qualities.
Yeah, and I imagine when writing her, you really just gotta tap into that inner awkward person that she represents out of all of us.
Oh god, it's like I have to make it like everyone about how they identify a character, and I'm like, no, please, don't relate me to this girl. I promise.
I can't imagine that writing.
You can relate to
continuous
Tomoko
writing
only
of
with the promise
Tomoko
that
must
you
not be good
immediately
for the mental health.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I would have to say that she's very a lot of fun to write towards. I've been working with Stuart a lot with Tomoko and Megaman, and Tomoko's quickly become like Megaman's like fourth or third most targeted character. Just the dialogue between them is interesting because it's got that whole kind of, they're both kind of like awkward losers in a sense in their own way. Although Megaman's probably a bit more social, but still they have kind of, it's kind of fun. And I definitely have to say there aren't many characters that manage to make me like visibly laugh out loud while playing, like chuckle or something like that, or like snort in laughter. And Tomoko has managed to do that a few times for me. Just love, I love the line she says about the Crimson Demons. That was wonderful. And in case you guys don't know the line I'm talking about, she's like, says that like the Crimson Demon or something, that's what she calls her period or something. But yeah, no, it's just really kind of funny, kind of, but all character, but that's also kind of like you can relate to slightly, but that's also like adds
but you don't, but you're upset that you relate to her.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a lot about her that's fun. I think you've really captured that. I've seen the anime, and from what I've seen in the anime, like you've incorporated a lot of elements that, like, you know, callbacks to things she's done into her like posing or dialogue, and as well. So it's kind of fun.
I think part of the thing about Tomoko is that, like, the way I've written her, it's like a weird mix between anime Tomoko and like manga Tomoko.
There's a difference.
There's a massive difference. Manga Tomoko at the end is actually able to talk to people like pretty confidently, whereas anime Tomoko is like, God, she's barely able to get words to people, right? So I kind of wrote this, like, one's a lot less cringe, and one's, like, more fun to write. So I try and, like, at least represent them both a little bit. Like, there's like, one response was, like, you're trying to, like, he was like, yeah, you're trying to age Tomoko up for the dialogue, and I'm like, I'm not trying to, like, force Tomoko to be aged up. I'm just, like, in manga sense, she is a lot more mature sometimes, while still retaining that kind of cringe. I don't know. It's hard. I think you gotta try and like write this character without being like too like, hey, I don't want to like get into the point where it's kind of bullying someone with social anxiety, because Tomoko is a character that's very easy to write and come off as mean-spirited, right?
Yes.
With her interactions with people. So it's hard to avoid that. I think what you kind of got to do is kind of, a lot of Tomoko's insecurities you got kind of disassociate from reality, I guess. A lot of like the things she'll say just aren't true. She'll have a lot of thoughts about how everyone's judging her and everyone hates her, but like no one has. It's, you know, so it's like it's a lot of like a self-fulfilling like fear and stuff.
Alrighty. Next up is Mary from...
No, it's okay. You don't need to ask me.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Who are you?
I'm the guy who showed up late.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Banana, what are your thoughts on Tomoko?
It's alright.
There we go.
There we go.
How familiar are you with Watamote?
Not at all. But that's my main exposure to her so far has been replying to her with Maya,
Yeah.
which has been fun so far. Just she, because Tomoko is kind of lost in her own little world, so she has very stark, very unusual opinions and takes on things, which is fun to respond to. Like, she's creating a lot of her own conversations, which is definitely good. It can be a little annoying when she's like thinking to herself, but it's a targeted line, so it's like, how do I reply to that?
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Luckily, Maya is written to be kind of perceptive, so she's kind of like, why are you looking at me weird? Do you have something to say? But it's my main hang up with her is like conversation wise, she's very fun, but like, where is the sex appeal in this character?
Yeah,
Which I guess if you're into girls who talk about their periods and haven't bathed in a month.
Oh, there we go.
Which, some guys are, they're into that au natural style.
I think the appeal probably goes around more of just kind of being more a grounded kind of character that is almost more realistic or relatable to a degree. But yeah, no, I can get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, same. I think I do plan to do an epilogue, and I think an epilogue where I actually if I write it well enough, then I can bring in some sex appeal there. I think as a writer, I'm not very good at being sexy. So it's a lot easier for me to write, comedic or cute lines than it is for anything else. But I'm gonna try and push that if I do ever do an epilogue thing.
Practice makes perfect, my dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact: I used to write smut or something like that for some people, and that was my first foray into writing.
Like professionally?
Not professionally, but but more just for fun as a writing exercise.
The Saitama school of doing things. Just for fun.
Yep.
Alrighty, Spnanon. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Tomoko?
That was my piece, really.
Alrighty. Now on to Mary from Walter's brain. As in, that is somebody's OC. Walter is the guy who made her.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a series called Walter's Brain to retroactively confuse people.
No, anything but that. So, let's talk about Mary. Stuart, what are your thoughts on her?
There's something about Mary.
Yeah, no, Mary is a weird character. I think she's one of the more, I don't know if anyone else has this kind of personality shift, where they go from being she's got, just in case anyone's not played her yet, she has this insanity trigger that will play through the match, and then she'll go fully insane, right? She already makes a bunch of kind of she's already weird, right? But if the insanity trigger goes, she goes fully insane. I think
I'm glad she's here for the Christmas season. Although I've read the New Testament, and this is just not how I pictured Mary.
Yeah, no,
at all.
I think.
Really? Then I think you need to reread it again. I think that a literal interpretation of the Bible.
This is why Jesus ended up as a weird drifter with all of his friends, because his mom was just shit posting.
Spnanon, what you fail to realize is that any literal interpretation of the Bible is going to end up going poorly.
When you get impregnated by God and then he leaves you, it addles your brains a bit.
Time to shitpost.
I think mainly
that's how you can. That's exactly why millennials shitpost. Is because we have all been left by God.
Oh no.
Or we're in the weird middle ground between millennial and Zoomer.
Mary was the original shit poster.
Zoomers don't remember a time when in their house was just the phone.
Judas was the original shit poster.
There you go.
Judas was a bad guy though. shitposters are the good guys of the generation.
So.
But no, I think like Mary should probably have more of a distinction between her like insanity stage and her normal stage. I remember the only things I can really say about Mary was done during the very early days of testing, right? So I don't think like me going, hey, this is what I think about Mary, is that helpful? Because a lot of like, I'm pretty sure I gave like some feedback, and I'm pretty sure a lot of it's been fixed since then. I think when I read her, she had a lot of memes. Maybe like a little overboard in the memes.
She has a lot of
like,
meme lines still.
Yeah, but I think like when I read her, she had mostly meme lines. Like it felt like every other line was just some meme. I was like, you should probably tone that down. But honestly, like at least what I can say about Mary is that she's really interesting, and I hope so. Like I think the insanity gimmick should be more kind of like as what we were saying about Nami's pirate gimmick earlier. It should be more kind of there should be more of a differentiation between those two states, so it's like fucking obvious when one is triggered, right? And then you've kind of got two characters in one, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to play with her yet, and because of the fact that she's an OC, I don't really have any idea of what her character is like besides the brief snippet I read. One thing I'd have to see more of how it works in game. But one thing I did think of when I is with the insanity thing is I know a lot of times when people are writing like generic lines or things like that, they're generally writing them under the assumption that the other character isn't saying something completely batshit insane, and that they and then you do targeted lines towards more specific. So I don't know how crazy she gets or whatnot, but I imagine it might for some. This isn't a defect with the character. More, I'm just saying for other people with reacting towards her, it might probably get a little hard to find a way to react without constantly being like, "Wait, what?" or "What are you talking about?" or like overreacting or whatnot. But again, I don't know what she's actually like, so that could be an unfounded concern. But
the first targeted lines I wrote from like Maya to Mary is just like, I don't know what this bitch is saying. Are you intentionally like trying to throw us all off, or are these like weird Earth phrases that I don't understand?
Isn't that a Tomoko's quote? Let me find it. I have no idea what the hell this slut is saying.
There's one. I think of like what the fuck.
There's one post where I just had her using her tablet, and it's just like, I'm gonna write down all these phrases that you're saying, and I'm gonna try to decipher them later.
I'm pretty sure Tomoko also said something like, I understand like half the shit. Like, oh.
I understand each individual word.
Yeah.
When they're put together, makes no sense.
I'm pretty sure my end goal for Mary interact just like the picture of Tomoko saying, "This slut is my friend."
Yeah, I just found that panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. It's I mean, what I was kind of saying before about Amy and how she's kind of towing the line of like sort of feeding into these stereotypes that people have of like what an OC is, or like bad OCs. I feel like Mary has kind of dipped past the line already, where like what is your image of like what a kind of a cringy OC would be? Sort of like someone who's a little bit too familiar, like someone like kind of written as like, oh, I'm a computer nerd, like sort of a write what you know situation, and then just a lot of her personality just seems to be until Walter nails down something a little more specific, something with a little more substance. It's just like, lol, so random. Look how many memes I can spout out, and that's what my personality is. Like, I'm not quite getting anything more out of her just yet. And I think the whole sanity thing could be interesting, but in a game where you already have such a limited time and a limited context to sell what this character is supposed to be, throwing a really weird, complex, and not all that obvious in the background, like mechanic like that completely changes her personality, so you don't really get something specific, like that's really gonna kind of sink her. I don't see like a casual player really being sold on her all that quickly, just because you play her and you're not sure what she's supposed to be, because then you play her again and she says something, she could be like acting completely different and you don't know why. You know what I mean? Like, you got to keep it simple.
Yeah.
If this is a character for like SPNatI.
I'm definitely interested to see. They're still. I guess they're not like super early on with lines or whatnot, but they're still kind of in the development phase with that stuff.
Yeah. Like it's early yet. He could sort of whittle down like a more coherent personality. But so far, I'm just not seeing anything.
No. I'm definitely interested to see what direction they go.
Yeah, it seems very much like you can tell this is an OC, which is not what you want.
At least it's not with the level of Sonic OCs.
Yeah, it's just like, very simple design, very like she is referencing other things, but she is not bringing her own perspective into the table here. Like, it's not enough to just acknowledge other things that exist, because it just makes you wish that you were watching those things that had substance that they're referencing.
Yeah, like
it's like when those new Star Wars movies reference the old ones. I remember how those old ones made me feel. They were like good movies. I wish I were watching those.
Joe works in a theater. Please leave him alone.
I wish I was watching The Empire Strikes Back. That was like good.
I have had enough Star Wars in my life over the last.
I think everyone has.
Yes, but I've been extra exposed to it.
It's been 4 years, and everyone's done with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo a lot of what you've said about Mary. I think that references doesn't exactly work as a personality. Because, like, why is she like that? A lot of characters, when they act weird, you can at least, like, know the context in their source material, but as an OC, that becomes very difficult. So it's just, is she just mentally ill, and that's why she's like that? And if that is the case, then I cannot, in good conscience, beat meat to that.
I'm sorry, I missed. What's that last word you said?
I could not, like, get off to that.
Oh. Now I get what you said.
I could not.
Yeah. I cannot in good conscience. Just because it would feel weird if somebody was mentally ill and I was, like, getting off on that.
Aren't we all a bit mentally ill? Isn't that just what dating is exploiting each other's psychological weaknesses?
Please stop. She is oddly... I think there is a lot of similarities drawn between her and Tomoko. And she's like bad Ed Tomoko, pretty much, like, from what I've heard.
Bad End Tomoko.
Yeah, she's like Tomoko if she just...
She's gone off the deep end.
Yeah, exactly. Like Tomoko, who just went, okay, I'm not going to go outside ever again, and I'm just going to shitpost all day.
Alright. Up next is Yuellia from Fantasy Life.
Is that? I thought it was just Yuellia.
I don't know. I'll be honest, I've been very busy because Star Wars and Christmas, and I did not get a chance to.
She's very Christmas themed, You think of like a Yule log.
I didn't get a chance to play her. I'm sorry, Otter. I will talk about her on the next episode.
Yuletide Yuellia.
I've done... I think she was put on to testing the same day Tomoko was, I'm pretty sure. Either that or like the day after. And I know Yater has been talking about having some problem of the character. Trying to find a voice with it. Honestly, I really enjoy the kind of what I've done with them. They have a lot of about hugging random people. I think... and, there's obviously been, like, a lot of work put into, like, the posing of the character and whatever, and it's nice to have a very wholesome character. The barfly part is like, hey, that's a must target situation right there. All which makes it weird for like old characters that are like, hey, we don't get responses anymore. So it's like, hey, why are you not responding to the fact that this person is a butterfly? I'm a very big fan though. I like it. It's a lot of fun to write reactions with Tomoko too, because it's like, hey, this is a very nice person. So it's you can do some interesting stuff with that. I think my perspective as someone who's new to join, I don't know many of other people who fill a similar niche, but I'm sure there are people in the roster like that.
Yeah, no, with Megaman, I've been working with the writer for Yuellia a decent bit, and it's been fun. She definitely, as you mentioned, with the butterfly thing, very much a fun thing to target and be like, why are we playing cards with a butterfly? You know, and the reactions that Yuellia wrote to some of the things Megman said along those lines were pretty funny too. She's definitely interesting. She's got some kind of animated poses and whatnot. But the thing that I had the most fun with too was the fact that the writer randomly contacted me. They're like, "Hey, you want to do a joint pose with Yuellia?" And I'm like, "I've never done one of those before. Hell yes!" And so we got that done. That was fun.
Yeah, I saw he did. I'm gonna interject real quick because I saw he made a joint pose for Hanako, and that was
really?
that was
For
very
Hanukkah? Oh, what a nice holiday season.
it was very impressive that he was able to do a Hanako pose, because it was like Hanako is very difficult to pose because of her burns. So he had to straight up apply those burns all by himself.
Oh, wow.
But I feel a little bit bad because apparently in the way he did it is Yule has like some like healing powers or something, and so like she hugs Hanako and Hanako's burns go away. But that would that implication is exactly what would have set Hanako off, because she hates being treated like she's broken or needs to be fixed. So,
Hey, in that case, Revy is quite supportive of her. It's like, I know this bitch with burns on her face, and she scares the shit out of people. You need to use that to your advantage.
Yeah,
nice.
but like, if she's like, "Oh, I can heal your burns," that would make Hanako very, very upset.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit bad because he went and applied those burns to that pose and like animated the burns going away, but in character that would make Hanako absolutely livid.
I think I don't know. Have you guys seen the joint pose with Megman at all?
I have. It's pretty cool.
It's kind of basically she asks her to do her like magic like pose thing with removing the shirt thing and on her, because she's like, this is really awkward, and it's probably less awkward if someone else, in magic. So yeah, why not? And I don't know.
But then you have to go home shirtless because your shirt got eaten by the ether.
That's true.
She promised she was holding on to it, so we'll see.
Your shirt got vored by the ether realms.
I did something. I got Yuellia hugged Tomoko at a certain stage, and God, she has the fucking goofiest expression on her face when it happens, and I love it. I wrote 10 different lines for when it happened, and they're all just terrible.
Hey, Spnanon, have you said anything about Yuellia yet?
Are you gonna keep changing the pronunciation of her name every time you say it?
I have no idea what you're on about.
Yuellia.
Just call her Flutter.
Yeah, I called her Flutter in a lot of my dialogue.
Yeah.
It's the butterfly thing. It's kind of fun to react to. It does raise the question of why even show up as a butterfly if you're gonna change.
To give yourself an extra layer, obviously. She's giving a front that she's all innocent and nice, but deep down, she's a cunning fox.
Read the 4chan thread if you that's up right now if you really want the how diametrically opposed opinions on Yuellia can be. I don't know why she's so polarizing. Other than I guess some people don't like Yater, but it's like there are some people that are just like tearing into the way she looks and like her personality and stuff. And I don't think she's that bad. I'm having like a perfectly nice time like replying to her and things. I don't think she does anything super interesting at the moment. I mean, the joint poses are nice and all that. It's nice to have like, I mean, it's cool to have a character that's just like nice and supportive. I agree that she can be a little milquetoast if that's the only thing going on there. There should definitely be something in there that like pisses her off. Because otherwise you don't have any flaws and you're just like sweet milquetoast nice girl that is very boring.
Isn't that a flaw?
Oh man, it'd be interesting if Revy manages to crack her shell.
I'm not sure if she targets. I don't know if Yuellia targets Revy yet. I don't think so.
I think Tomoko manages to
target her, and she'll probably just be like, "So what the fuck was it with the butterfly thing?"
I think Tomoko manages to like piss her off a little.
Like that's okay. Remember that Revy does not punch down a whole lot. I think that's one thing that was, among other things, that was kind of like written about her wrong in her first incarnation. Like, Revy does not give a shit about this completely like. Well, I used the word milquetoast already, but very very non-threatening, very girl. She just thinks she's kind of inane and not worth her time speaking to, but she wouldn't like try to like crush her entire worldview
on her dreams.
Unless Yuellia confronted her about that first. Otherwise, Revy would just kind of blow her off. She's not looking to like.
Revy takes her to a crack house and shows her emergence.
She's not gonna like just start picking on her for no reason or anything.
No, Revy is in permanent like I'm gonna find the toughest guy in the prison and beat him up mode.
Yeah.
She sees Jotaro and like I'm gonna fuck with this guy. I want to be seen as better than him. Like more powerful, like someone who's threatening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like Yuellia, she's not gonna like immediately go after him. Like unless Yuellia starts bothering her about like smoking or her language or anything that it annoys her when people complain about. I think Yuellia again, like she needs a little bit more going on there. Joe, you said like, isn't that a flaw to be too nice? But like, no, that's like a bad OC flaw.
That's true.
Like, oh, she just sees the good in people too much. It's like, no, you need something that's genuinely unpleasant about a character.
I don't know, Spnanon. I feel like there's some people I've met who are just like too nice, and it's just like, give me some fucking room, you creep.
Well, that's like a comedy flaw. That's not like a dramatic flaw.
That's true.
That's like what? I don't know if you've seen Seinfeld. That's like the Kenny Banya.
I have not seen Seinfeld. I only watch the highest tier of anime.
They're just like, that's when they just kind of like invite themselves into a conversation and they don't realize that everyone hates them. But that's not a dramatic flaw. That's just like this person. That's like a sitcom flaw.
I see what you mean.
That's just like, it's annoying. It wouldn't create conflict in a story about like a war. Like a real character flaw is like, you're too like prideful, or they're a coward, or something.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Or they see the world in like completely black and white terms.
I think naive would be a good route to take it, maybe. But I don't know much about the source character.
Yeah, but I guess it's gotta be a little bit more than naive. Well, my bigger hang up is with the art, which a lot of people have complained about, where her clothes are a little weird because they could use like some stronger outlines and like shading. And her poses are a little too symmetrical. She could rotate some more. Most people who have complained about like her face and sort of like her eyes are too big.
Yeah, I could definitely agree in that respect.
There's two things that bother me about her model. The butterfly emoting is pretty cute, but when she transforms into a human, first off, she has like she has no pupils, which is sort of my problem with Ayala, where maybe it fits the art style, but it's very difficult to emote with that, and it looks very like kind of creepy. It looks like she's blind.
Yeah.
And she could emote with her eyes a little bit better. Like they're either closed or they're wide open. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like Kisake eyes unfortunately suck because there's no like eyelids that come down. It's just the eyes kind of squish to close, which makes it very difficult to make like a seductive kind of face.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as I am discovering with Fubuki.
It's all in the brass.
Yeah. But there's that, and the other thing is just like kind of her proportions. Like you can tell that like Yater doesn't have a ton of experience with Kisake because like Misty's art was done by Horse Killer. And like Yulia's proportions are just very like Kisake defaulty, which looked fine in 2017 because most of the characters look like that, and a lot of people are like who don't like Yulia are comparing her to like a 2017 character, and that's because she's using those proportions. She has a very large head and like a long torso and like kind of stubby legs, which looks fine when everyone looks like that. But next to like the very more traditional proportions that we have tended towards now, of like, you know, small heads, long legs, short torsos, she very much stands out, especially with like no body rotation. So Yater just kind of needs to go. He needs to do like go over the art again and basically just kind of give it a little more personality. Kind of tweak with all the proportions a little bit. Get her looking a little bit more like the rest of the cast, I think. And that would solve a lot of her issues.
I do, yeah, I pretty much can't add anything beyond what you've said, but I do agree in that it's really nice having a character that just has so many joint poses with other cat characters on the roster. I think it's really fun. And I got to applaud his, what's the word? Initiative in going out and making those happen. That is
for sure.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah, for sure. They got in touch with me within like a couple of days of Yuellia being up, so they were pretty quick on that kind of stuff.
Alrighty. Okay, that's all of the new characters and stuff. Now it's time for questions and answers.
Woohoo!
Question 1. What do you think are the expectations new creators face at this point in terms of art and writing? What about new characters by experienced creators?
I was wondering, can I start with this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this one I found kind of interesting because I definitely feel like there's kind of and with anything I say along those lines, feel free to correct me or something if you disagree. But I feel like there's kind of a disproportionate kind of disproportion between like the expectations with when it comes to the art and the writing. That might just be me because I feel like the writing comes more naturally to me, but when I look at Kisake, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing or looking at. But I definitely see that on the one hand, with the writing more adding more lines and whatnot, takes a bit of work and whatnot, but I imagine with art stuff, for some people it might not click naturally, so it's more of a barrier or obstacle they have to try to work around.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much the same. Like, I can go, like, when I just joined, I'm like, okay, I can definitely write. I've written a bunch in the past. I can write dialogue. I don't have to learn a completely new tool to be able to do that. Like I do with, Kuzaki. And I think, like, if I wanted to make new art, then, like, I think even, like, the best creators here, all their kind of first start, they've always said, yeah, no, when we started making models, they all sucked, right? But it is also hard to go from this stage where if I'm going to make a model that's going to suck, then I don't really want to put a lot of effort towards making that into a character,
And I think the other thing, though, in general, the expectations when it comes to writing, I feel like it's generally not saying this is the immediate expectation, but more like down the line. somewhere maybe around 1,000 lines total or something like that, at least. I don't know, that could be wrong, but I mean, that's at least from what I've seen. But I think the biggest expectation, or the most important one, is just kind of commitment. Not that you have to be committed to working constantly all the time on it, but more of just some kind of regularity and dedication to it, because even if it's just a bit every now and then, but it's consistent, I think a lot of people expect or kind of want to see people kind of or when they're working on a character, like it's not that it's just something and not that there's anything wrong with just trying something out and seeing if you like it, and maybe it ended up not being something big for you, but they kind of it always stinks when you see a character get dropped that might have been interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things when I recently joined the community, and a lot of what you see new people with, like, someone joins the server, they're there for like a week, and they're just talking about character ideas for that entire week, right? And it doesn't actually go anywhere. I think you probably have an interesting answer to this question, Wibbly, because you are a new writer and a new creator, but you did it all under a mask. No one actually knew that you were a new creator, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I feel like there's not much like special treatment or anything to old creators. I think old creators have like reputation behind them. Like, a lot of people are more like, hey, Amy's automatically going to be good because it was made by like Natsu.
I think it depends on who the creator is. Like, I feel like, say, someone like Spnanon or Nmas doing a character carries a lot more weight than someone who's only contributed like one character to the game.
And that comes with becoming a veteran.
Well, not just that, but like, there are people who have been around longer, like, I'm trying to think of how like to say this the nicest way possible, but like, without just being like, oh, this person is better than the other. So,
I mean, they've had more experience. They've been around. They've seen things.
Yeah, but also there are people like who have been around longer. Like, I guess I can pick on User since he's not here anymore. He's gone, vanished into the ether. I feel like when he announced Penny, that came out with like, okay, you do that. But say if Nmas came out and said, hey, I'm doing 2B, or I'm doing whatever, that would generate a lot more hype because it's Nmas.
Yeah, I think that's fair overall, though, because they've definitely put a lot of effort into it and create something that people receive very positively.
I honestly don't think there is much, like, in terms of responses, like, people will respond with their complaints regardless if you're a new person or a kind of veteran, right? You'll get feedback regardless, and I don't think there's much, like, favoritism there, I don't think many people are, like, kind of holding back because, oh yeah, they're new, right? I think people are pretty happy to speak their mind regardless, which I'm glad. I don't think there's...
same here.
I don't think there's much, like, people are like, yeah, I don't want to offend this creator. I think people are, at least somebody is happy to speak their mind regardless. I think the only thing when it comes to being a new creator is just like, hey, you need to show that you are committed first, right? And even if it's like, hey, I'm going to write like 300, like, before you've put a character on testing, it's like, nobody actually knows if that character is even going to get made, right?
And sometimes they fall out of testing, too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's very easy to, like, say, this is a character that I'm thinking about making, right? And it's very different to go, okay, this is a character I've now, I've done something with, right?
I don't know, what are your thoughts, Spnanon?
I'm sorry, I'm very distracted because Namas picked this particular hour to divulge all this resort information in the vague way that he usually does. Because he finds it fun as a mod to just twist people's arms. It's tough to say. It's really kind of like with Yuellia. It's so easy at this point to tell a Kisuke amateur from someone who kind of knows what they're doing a little bit more. Because of someone like Yuellia, like she just looks like a 2017 character. Basically, she looks like what if you kept most things default in making your character, next to a lot of like the more prominent models in the game now. So I think that's the one thing that I think is really intimidating. Like it's intimidating to me as an experienced creator. I just every day I look at Fubuki's art, which is like the one that I've like done myself more than any of my other characters, really. And I'm just like, this is a piece of shit. It's just so bad.
Fubuki looks pretty good.
I can't get over how much like I just wish I could make her look better. Either next to other characters or next to like her reference art. It never feels adequate. What?
Yeah, I have so much respect for the people who do the art stuff in general because it is. It's like when I was working with Halo, I was constantly worried to be like of like overloading or something. I'd be like, this could be cool, but like I didn't want to suggest all these things because I know how much work goes into each thing they do. But he really put some good work forward there, and it's definitely, I feel like, with Kisuke being kind of tricky to get down just right, that it's really good to. I have a lot of respect for the people who put that work forward and are able to do that.
Yeah, it's so hard to make something that looks the way most characters do now without a whole lot of advice and help. I mean, writing, you can kind of find yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
But Kisuke is just such a specific skill,
Yeah, no, definitely. Sure. My brain doesn't really work that way. I'm actually an artist myself, but I've never been good at taking something that exists and retranslating it. That's just something I've always struggled with. So, and especially, I also always struggle with putting kind of pieces together into a big picture, and those are two very big aspects of Kisuke. So when I look at that, I'm like, I have no idea how to even start or anything.
Kisuke is a puzzle game.
Yeah. If we have any pointillists out there,
oh yeah,
or cubists,
yeah, there you go,
all over Kisuke.
But yeah, I definitely think that there's expectations towards writing and art at the moment, at least, and this is just from my experience. This could be completely off the mark, but I get the feeling that it's definitely the expectations towards the art and the is the more difficult aspect at the moment. Not saying that the expectations are bad. It's good to have expectations. I'm just saying, it's more difficult in general, a challenge to meet, sometimes.
Yeah, I think expectations are good because...
Yeah, definitely. I
don't want to come across as saying people think that you can make good content.
Yeah. I think it's also that when you do writing, you do, like, let's say, 1,000 lines, right? No one's going to be reading 1,000 individual lines to give feedback. Where you can look at like 8 posts, you can give feedback really easily. Getting feedback on writing, like I'm sure if someone like looked over a bunch of writing, they could go, "Hey, this line doesn't really work," right? And they could do the same. They could be as nitpicky with it as they can about poses. It's just a lot harder to because there's so much more of it, right?
Alrighty, Spnanon, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Didn't I already say things?
Yes, but I wanted to know if you had anything else you wanted.
No, I'm good.
So the newcomers, which characters have been your most favorite characters to target so?
Well, it's kind of. I think that's really dependent on the character, right? So I had like Theron that were more fun to target as Tomoko, but I don't think it was because of. I think if I was doing a different character, then it would be a completely different set of characters that I enjoyed targeting. Because sometimes it's just this character worked for X. I enjoyed the targets I wrote for Meganoon, obviously, because I think I did a lot of work with Wibbly on those. I think any interactions where I got to do, like where I got to talk to the creator about it, right, and I got to do some back and forth, those were really fun. I also enjoyed the ones I did with. Let me think, because there are a couple. I did some fun ones with like. I have a name, but I can't remember it. Oh yeah, no, I did some fun ones towards. We're talking about. Fuck, I have it.
Happens to me all the time.
Revy. I had some fun ones towards Revy, where she starts talking about Revy's guns, which I thought was pretty funny because Tomoko is this weird. She has a weird amount of knowledge about guns. So she talks a lot about like she's really scared of Revy, and she's like, "Hey, can I see the gun quickly?" Which I liked.
Yeah, no. The newcomer stuff was. Oh, wait, not the newcomer stuff. Sorry. Also, sorry, I didn't mean. Were you finished or?
Yeah, no, I'm finished.
Oh, sorry. I just randomly started talking, then didn't know what tangent I was going on. With targets, the ones that have been the most fun so far. I've had a lot of fun with Natsuki was the first one that I targeted. This was during the Masquerade contest that like I got significant back and forth going with, and she had the #1 targets for Megman for the longest time until started working with Streaming Chan, because Streaming Chan asks a lot of questions, so that makes it really easy things to her. The Tomoko, as I mentioned, I've done a lot of writing towards Tomoko, and with Yuellia, it's been kind of fun. I think the characters I have the most fun targeting, ironically enough, has less to do with the character and more to do with the person writing them.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm writing, like even if it's a character where I don't initially have any ideas on how they would interact, if like I'm talking with the person and we have some back and forth, and like I'll write something, they write something back, and it's kind of consistent back and forth a bit for like it's really fun, and kind of you build that kind of rapport between the two characters. And so I definitely feel like so my favorite characters to target are the ones that are actively target me back, because I love writing. I constantly looking for more things to write.
Well, boy, are you in a good place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to say I also really liked. I had there's some really fun reactions between Tomoko and Kazuma. Because I was writing. It was actually happened. Where I was writing to Meganum, right? And I was like, I think Meganum brings up Kazuma, and I was like, well, Kazuma's whole thing is that he's like a generic Itsuki protagonist within this world.
No, he's not a generic protagonist though.
Okay, but like he died in this world. He used to play a bunch of MMOs. So I just kind of had a joke where Tomoko and him used to play the same MMO. So it's like this weird thing where it's like, hey, these characters are familiar with each other, and it's a weird dynamic which I like.
SPNatI expanded universe.
Yeah, exactly. It was it's very funny.
Kazuma's kind of like a male Tomoko, but slightly more socially functional.
Yeah, a lot more like manipulative.
Yeah, definitely.
And like then the writers then they wrote that lines back, and it's like they've got a fun dynamic, I think, for sure.
That's pretty cute.
Because like Tomoko's like pretty happy to like call him out on his bullshit. And I'll see where that takes it. I think there's some fun places that can.
just want to throw out there on the podcast, if you are looking for line counts and you are looking for someone to target, just literally shoot me a DM. We'll start talking, and we'll get probably 50 to 100 lines out.
Oh yeah, totally. Same here. I can agree that that's how he works.
Alrighty. Next question. Who is your favorite character to target in the last restart cycle? I believe this is for us, Spnanon. Yeah, that means it's your question. And that means it's up to you to answer, Spnanon.
I told you, Namasp was being very, very distracting. He picked a very bad time.
Mute SPNatI General. Mute it right now.
Let's see. To our newcomers.
We just answered that.
You didn't? Okay. Who was your favorite character to target in the last resource cycle? Does that mean, like, okay, characters that were new to, like, this time around?
Yeah.
Let's see. Who is new this time around? Do we have the full list anywhere?
Go to the website and look at who's at the bottom.
I guess that's true.
I haven't actually done much work since the last restart. I don't think I've done any updates at all.
I've done my best despite IRL concerns, but let's see. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the full list of newcomers here. What do we got at the bottom?
I have so many characters that I want to just
I've had limited time to interface with everyone here, but Megumin has been fun because of how kind of stark her reactions are to even the slightest comments about her age or her size or anything like that. It's really just the characters who have been replying to me. Jessie's been kind of fun in the because she throws out a lot of Q&A questions, and Alphaman is very good about responding back. It's really just the characters that update and respond to those lines quickly. Nami's been around on the roster for a while now, I think, or has she? Maybe not.
We just went over her this episode.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I guess not. But I targeted her a lot in testing, I guess. So I've been targeting her for a while, and there's been some fun stuff going on there with her. Just Maya assuming so much about her planet's ability to like engage in space travel, and Nami is like, "What the fuck are you talking about? How are we going to have a moon base?" You say it like it's the easiest thing in the world. But yeah, it's the characters whose authors have been really active that I've been able to engage with the most. I did have a fun recent interaction with Tharja. I know I disparaged her earlier on this cast, but similar to Jessie, there's a rare interaction where she shrinks Jura's breasts.
Oh,
really?
God.
I didn't know that she did it to Jura as well.
I just added it in.
I can imagine that not going over well with Jura or May.
Well, Jessie, it happens to Jessie, and she sort of she kind of like begs and pleads.
Yeah.
Or Jura is a little more of a woman of action, you could say. She's just like, I'm gonna kill this bitch. It's not, you are going to pay dearly.
I've never seen Jura that upset, so that'll be fun to see.
For your desecration. I mean, it's one thing. Like that is an attack on Jura's very identity.
Yeah.
You don't fuck with her body. You do not disfigure her. So yeah, I don't know if anything has ever made Jura as angry as that, and I don't think it has.
Jura
We'll
was
have to keep an eye out
pissed.
for that.
Yeah, it's basically it's Tharja has to be stripping her last item when Jura is already naked and still in the game. So it is rare. It is rare the way that like Maya and Revi fighting is rare.
Spnanon
But
dual
it's
poses
just
are
like,
like shiny Pokemon.
I am gonna slice this bitch. I'm gonna turn this whore into a pincushion.
Alrighty. For the non-hosts, do you want to collab on your next character or pursue solo projects?
Well, I don't think that I'll be doing anything in Kazaki anytime soon. I'm trying to learn it a little bit. I'm not really committed to it, but I'm like playing around with it if I have like some spare time. But I'm definitely not going to be trying to build like a character in it, right? In terms of like collabing, I'll see what happens. I'm really not trying to not think too far ahead of Tomoko, because it's like, hey, I'll focus on this, get her out, and then I'll start thinking about the next project, right? I've been talking to a few people. If there's something that I am very if there's a character that I'm very invested in, I kind of want to make sure that I can get involved in that. But other than that, I'm not doing much.
For me, the collab question is a bit of a interesting one. I'm not 100% sure what side I land on, because on the one hand, I love human interaction, and it's nice to work with other people. On the other hand, I know that I am very fervent with my writing, and I could probably very easily accidentally overshadow someone, or like accidentally force them out of like the dialogue, I'd feel like, or something. I don't know, like, just because I don't almost have to like pull the reins on myself. But I am dependent on collab when it comes to art, because as I was talking to earlier, I cannot figure out. I'm like a caveman looking at a spaceship, like poking it and screaming and running off. But it's so definitely on art collabing, yes. But with the writing, I'd be interested in trying it out. I also know I'm just get really invested in the writing in general. So a part of me worries about the idea of like having too many conflicting opinions and things falling apart or something like that. Yeah. So we'll see. I've done collaborative things in the past with video game design. That's an interest of mine. I've explored quite a bit. And one of the biggest things that always would happen is creative differences causing things to fall apart. So I'm always a little cautious with that, but at the same time, I said I do love working with people. So if it's the right person, I'd definitely be down.
Yeah, I think it also has to be like the right project, right? It has to be something that both interested in. You know, it has to be a character that kind of hits both of you at the same time. I think it's mostly about like, hey, the right people at the right time.
And kind of having the same kind of idea of the character, so that
yeah, exactly,
not split too much.
Yeah, very much.
Alrighty. Is contest burnout any different from typical lulls? I'm guessing you guys haven't been around or you guys are pretty new here, so
yeah.
I feel like this is a question that's more for Spnanon and I. We've had a lot of dry periods in SPNatI development. I do think that, like, after having pretty much most of the active creators with an abundance of free time, all working together to put content out there, it has pretty much dried up all the resources for, like, active SPNatI or consistent SPNatI development.
Right.
Yeah, I know I'm new, so I don't know much about what's the norm, but I definitely did notice at least there was a very big difference between working during the masquerade and afterwards. It was like me, because as I'm saying, I'm kind of almost like someone needs to put a leash on me or something when it comes to writing, because it's like I keep writing for like, yeah, more, like gotta write more. And so when it was over, I was like, when it was over, I was like, yeah, so what are we going to do next? Everyone's like, take a bit of a break. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just sit here and wait.
Yeah, I joined after the masquerade, but it was like, oh, and everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a tumbleweed here.
The thing with SPNatI work is that once you finish a character, there is a little bit of burnout. And with the Masquerade project, you got pretty much everybody who has a lot of free time and has the drive to make those kind of characters. And we've gone and made all of them burn out their energy.
Yeah, so for me, for now, I'm just I am playing it cool. I know people are burned out, so I'm not gonna pester people too much. For the people who aren't, I'm definitely down to keep working on stuff and whatnot. But definitely, I've at least noticed, even though I haven't been here to see the norm, that there has been seeming like a bit of a low energy dip.
Alrighty. Question is, what male character do you like the most?
No, once again, it's cool. Don't ask me.
Oh, right. I thought you were still like reading SPNatI General.
Fuck's sake, Joe. I know I showed up late, but a little more respect than this. Come on. Anyway, I didn't participate in the Masquerade. I don't know if you noticed. So really, I spent that entire time just kind of wrestling with a model that I'm still not satisfied with completely. I've been trying to get in the habit of more consistent writing updates, and oh god, there's so I can't really can never seem to get ahead on this shit. Just whatever it's. Every update I add, it's just someone else like pushes responses, and then that takes a whole day, and then someone else pushes their response. I cannot get ahead here on targeting new stuff. Such a backlog. But enough complaining from. I always try to just have consistent small updates, keep the momentum going, not run into those lulls. There is just sort of a general lull in development around the winter months. There was last year, there was the year before. So I don't know if it's anything unique to the Masquerade. It's just people are busy. None of us are getting paid to do this, which frankly is bullshit.
We do it for fun.
As I would be.
He does it for free.
Jannies are they're shit.
All
I
right.
have no clever line for this.
Wait, what? Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Janitors, 4chan mods.
Sorry, wait, sorry, can you repeat that? I missed that again.
Jannies, the janitors, the mods.
4chan mods.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't know 4chan lingo. I was a bit confused. Like, when did we start talking about janitors?
All right. What male character do you like the most in tonight?
I like the ones that aren't on my table.
You could have sent yourself in.
I think I'm gonna go with Kazuma and Kamina, the cave.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, they're just like energetic, like happy guy. It's a good person to have at a table.
I'd have to say, probably for me, it'd be Pit, Kamina, Guzma, Chazz. I have a little bit of fun with too. I don't have as much experience with variety in those departments, but I know that like those characters at least have people put some good work into, and their personalities can be kind of fun. So, say those four top my list.
Pit is my favorite character, just straight up.
An incredibly impressive line count.
Yeah. I still think he's the best character in roster.
I've not actually played with Pet. I should.
You should.
Should go through him.
Spnanon.
Ever? You've never played?
I've not played with Pet, no.
Well, let's see. We have a whole 11 men on the roster. Let's see. With the lack of culling, their proportion has gone down.
Yeah.
They used to be like a solid 10% of all the characters online, and now I think they're a little bit less than that. Rip.
F.
Well, I know you're gonna hate me for this, but my favorite male character is actually Xander.
Is it because
No, I'm just fucking
Zinga?
with you. I'm fucking with you.
I have no idea who Xander is.
He's from The Big Bang Theory.
Oh wait, really?
No.
No.
Oh, That's really- I'm really gullible sometimes.
He's from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is a show that only 30-year-old boomers have watched at this point.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
So it was from the 90s. So very, very much an older generation. Like Buffy is like an older generation.
Is he like Zimbabwean or
You
something?
know? It's because like 2 years ago, or I guess 1 year ago, on the 2018 feedback poll, someone said he looked like Leonard from the Big Zimbabwe Theater. So completely devoid of context, and which would very much confuse anyone who doesn't know that obscure piece of trivia. Whenever Xander is brought up, everyone just immediately posts like Leonard. Like
For me, I
like
just
that.
saw people talking about Zimbabwe, and I was like, so I just assumed he had some connection.
he's just the big Bazinga man.
Yeah.
Which will be very confusing once someone actually adds Leonard.
The way they never play it happen.
It's just, oh god. Having actually watched parts of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I haven't seen the whole thing, but I now have to quest. Okay. Well, I guess I know the reason why Black made Jotaro. It's specifically a play off of Jolene's daddy issues because he's into that.
Jotaro has his own daddy issues.
Okay, I haven't seen all of part 3. Does Jotaro's dad even show up? Because he has not
No.
showed up yet.
He's a disappeared dad.
I know, it
that's why
said he's like a jazz musician, and then it all. It's like, did he just run off? What an asshole.
Yeah, that's why Jotaro's a delinquent.
A dog killed him.
Okay. It makes me wonder, why didn't you just make Joseph like young Joseph, who is a joy to watch because he's just anime Bugs Bunny.
Oh man, he's great.
Part
Run
2 so
away!
far I'm like halfway through part 3, and so far part 2 has been my favorite.
Oh yeah, it's a great one.
Part 7 is my favorite. Then part 5, then part.
Yeah, it's just I mean with the dialogue functionality that's possible in SPNatI, you could totally just have Joseph predict what his opponent is going to say next.
Actually, now you mention it, he would be a character that, if written right, could be a lot of fun in a lot of situations.
I would absolutely put him on the table.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun.
I feel like you'd have to use target saying text or like markers and just intricately like. You'd have to use every single possible marker you could to just have him be like, your next line is.
Well, you could coordinate that with other
Yeah.
authors easily, but it's I don't know. Makes me wonder why Jotaro. Because so far, as Hex mentioned to me, it's basically been Polnareff's Bizarre Adventure. Yeah.
Just
and
get ready for part 7.
Jotaro
the main-
Jotaro stands around in the background and then occasionally punches somebody at the end of an episode. Let's see. Kamen is pretty interesting. Kamen is pretty entertaining to have around. Guzma, I still don't really know what Guzma's deal is. Like, I get what
Guzma
Kamen's
nuts.
deal is. Guzma's just kind of weird. Jin would be
I
great
like-
if he got updated, and he never will be.
I like Guzma a lot. It's just his design doesn't really do it for me.
Kamina always has a place in my heart just because that was the anime that, when I was like struggling a lot with things in general, motivated me. Great inspirational methods, messages. So always have a place in my heart for Kamina if we're in anything.
Believe in the me that believes in the you. Our drill will pierce through.
I guess Joseph just can't be in the game because he's tortured by the memory of his gay Italian lover.
Caesar!
Did you know that Zeppeli is Italian for jobber?
Jobber. You already used that joke, Spnanon.
Not on the podcast.
Your next line is Zeppeli is Italian for jobber.
I don't know why you didn't just keep spamming the bubbles. They seem to be working. Don't go near him.
All right.
I don't know. He did a better job than his grandfather. He put up a fight before he immediately jobbed out.
Yep. Don't worry, there's a Zeppeli in part 7 who's fucking coolest.
Oh, I'm sure.
His name is Gyro. He's got grills that say "Go Go Zeppeli," and he's got a stand, ball breaker.
Oh God.
Oh dear.
Let me post the boy. Part 7 is the best part of JoJo's. The main character's legs don't work. He's a paraplegic on a horse.
I understand nothing
and he
about
needs to kill
JoJo.
the president and recover the corpse of Jesus Christ.
Is this a plot to JoJo? Because I honestly
Yes, this
it's
is the
convinced
plot of
me.
part 7 on JoJo's.
Jesus Christ.
The entire series is quite a roller coaster.
He fires his fingernails like bullets.
Funny thing is, that's not the weirdest thing I've heard with that show.
All right.
I'm not gonna say it, but we may have gotten off topic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's Hi Pot. I'm Kettle. Okay. How do you feel about the game's Japanese-Western character ratio? Do you care at all?
Well, I'm the one who crunched the numbers on this and made it a topic.
Is it 69%? Because if it's 69%, then I'm pretty
It's
happy with
60.
that rate.
It's 69 when the next Japanese character.
Ah, shit. I don't think we'll get there. Sadly.
We will, just not before the resort.
Can I give some
Yeah.
context on this before people say stuff?
Yeah,
Sure.
go ahead.
Yeah, so I crunched the numbers on this just because I was bored. It's like, what characters, or like people say, oh, there's too many anime characters, or it's like, oh, it's like a weeb game, or it's not a weeb game, or whatever. And I crunched the numbers on like, characters added to the main roster in different eras of development. Were they from like Western or Eastern sources? So in the game's early years, like 2015, 2016, it was pretty even. It was like 58% Western, 43 or 42% Eastern. So the first 4 characters ever made for the game were like Western. Lara, Lilith, Elizabeth, and who was the last one? Zoe. So they're all Western, I think. And then in 2017, when most of the development for this game was on the sub, it was mostly Western characters. It was like 61% Western, like 39% Eastern. And then in 2018, when development like moved on to like the Discord, and there was really like a whole new crop of prominent developers, that just completely flipped around. It was like more weeb than ever. It was like 67% Eastern and then 33% or so Western characters. And 2019 looks on track to be around that figure of like 2/3 Eastern characters being added to the game. And although there are overall just fewer characters in general, we've definitely gotten fewer characters in 2019 than any previous era. Probably just because it takes a lot more effort these days. There's a lot more expectations. But but proportionally, still very heavily favoring like anime characters.
I definitely
So,
feel like
there's complaints about that, but again, it's all just up to whoever happens to be developing for the game, who wants to put effort into making characters. They'll just pick ones they like. I know all my characters have been like not even just Japanese, but like specifically from like anime and manga. But that's kind of just coincidence. I mean, I don't hate Western characters. I just think it's funny to see how it flipped like that. The only bias I have against Western characters is that a lot of them come from like stuff that is more expressly aimed at children.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit weird. Whereas, a lot of anime is sort of aimed for slightly a more adult audience, or either that or they're just like a live action character, which I always think is kind of weird because it's like you just want to fuck the actor or the actress.
Yeah.
Like you're not fooling anybody.
I definitely I feel like one reason I could potentially see there being on top of the reasons you listed a bit of a skew is I feel like people who are really into anime are probably I feel like I have no numbers to back this up are probably statistically more likely to come across a game like this in general.
That's true.
But I personally have no preference. Any new edition that's a good edition is welcome, and it doesn't really matter for me where their source is from.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of oddly enough, don't know that much about anime. Tomoko's like one of the anime/manga characters. Like I worked on a couple of characters as like concepts. I settled on Tomoko, like 3 or 4, and they were all Western characters, so it was just like random that kind of.
I should note that I'm counting. This is not like based on art style. This is based on literally like who made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like something like Teen Titans or like Valhalla or Katawa Shoujo, it's technically made by like people from the West.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though it's very clearly like inspired by anime.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No. I don't think it matters as long as there are still characters from every source, right? You know, as long as it's never 100%, then I think it's really.
Yeah, this is not like Glorious Nippon is superior to the West. This is just I don't know. Just that I just thought it was funny to analyze that.
It's also I think there's also an abundance of characters to pick from anime because there's constantly shows coming out and they generally tend to have predominantly large female audience character casts for a lot of shows. Not always, but that can be a trend sometimes. So I definitely feel like that can definitely lead to some of people being more pulled towards creating more characters in that realm than others. But
no, for sure.
Alrighty. In my personal opinion, a lot of the stuff that I consume is Eastern media. Like a lot of my favorite games, a lot of my favorite. I don't watch a lot of cartoons. I watch a lot of anime.
Joe.
Yeah.
I don't think you're supposed to be eating that stuff.
Well, listen. I hunger for knowledge.
Like a bookworm. Got it.
Yeah. So what I do is a lot of the content that I engage with is Eastern. So a lot of the characters that I like are Eastern, or at least Western, but Eastern inspired, like DLC, Teen Titans, etc. So I personally don't care which characters get made. I think that people should make who they want to make, but most of the ones that I care about are probably going to be from Eastern sources. Are SPNatI Let's Plays good to watch? How might they be improved?
I've heard good feedback, or people have good things to say about it, at least from the one time I saw it brought up in chat. I haven't seen one before. I'm assuming, hopefully, the Let's Play is focused on recording on the screen and not about what's in front of the screen, but
Yeah.
that could be awkward. But other than that, no, I haven't seen it, but I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts if you guys have seen them.
I mean, I think it's weird when you're doing a Let's Play because you do lose an aspect of SPNatI, which is just the sexual aspect of it. Because, I don't think it's very easy to. I mean, I guess it depends on who's doing it, right? But for the most part, like the one I saw was just 2 guys, and they're just going through the characters and looking at the funny interactions, right? Which is fair enough, right? SPNatI's more than just a porn game, right?
Yeah.
But I definitely think you do lose something when you're just, hey, let's just... It's not got that kind of... I don't know. It's hard to express.
No, I get what you mean.
But they're definitely not, like, showing the game. Like, especially if you're doing it on YouTube or something. So you have to blur out half the things, right? You know? And I guess there's certain characters that are more suited for it. Like, you know, Chazz or someone like that, or like the April Fool's characters, you know, kind of work better in that respect.
For me, because being from art school, where I had to get used to painting or drawing people in the nude several times, I'm pretty good at being very clinical about in like not detached clinical, but like a lot of stuff I look at from a purely, you know, writing standpoint or from a purely whatever. So it's pretty, for me, it's not the biggest obstacle, but I could definitely see that being something for other people.
I think it's more like, if you're doing it on YouTube, you can't, like that's generally where, like, I mean, I guess you can make it let's play on porn.
YouTube can't make up their mind whether they want child-friendly content or anti-friendly content. So
yeah, exactly. Like,
you just gotta bounce. You gotta walk a tightrope. You can't curse too much, but you should curse a little bit.
Yeah.
Kids should just be banned from the internet because they are ruining the party.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of the people's views towards the Spnanon Let's Plays is like, people like seeing their characters be played, and they like hearing people's opinions on them. So I think it's good for people like who want to see. It's good to also like for a different method of Spnanon. So you're like, if you're interested in knowing how people actually play your characters, right? You can see how someone plays. You don't really get that perspective. You usually only get the perspective of what people say, but then you get to see people going through it, right?
The blind Let's Plays are it's fun to watch the psychology of the character select screen, since we agonize over the resource so much, and how much like how they end up picking their characters anyway. Are we talking about like just in general, are they a good idea, or the specific SPNatI Let's Plays that are out there? Because there's really not that many.
There's like a few that there's those new dudes, the Fourth Seat Studios, and they've joined the Discord. I
can count them on my one hand. There's the really old one from before I started working on this game. It was like 2017, and it's in Spanish.
I think you probably
like Metaton.
I think you probably could do an interesting thing where if you like almost like the podcast, right? Where if you got a creator down and you just went through one of their characters, I think that'd be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Then there's one from like June 2018 or something that's just made by like some stupid kid who like literally says on the video that he's like underage, and he just like mashes through all the dialogue. He picks up like bare bones characters like May and Wii Fit Trainer, and he's just like snarking on it the whole time, and then he doesn't read the dialogue, and then he wonders why he didn't like it.
Oh no.
So yeah, that's just like a piece of shit video.
and
then there's like the two Let's Plays by those Fourth Seat Studio guys, which, you know, they're definitely they're giving the game a chance, and they seem to be enjoying it.
Now that they've straight up like joined the Discord, I think that like I think that they could be improved by having us like suggest some characters that have some of the intricate interactions.
Having an open dialogue always helps too.
Well, they have a chat going.
Okay.
Like a text chat.
True.
Which is fine. I don't think we need to butt in on their commentary. Like, make it just see what their opinion is before we try to like mold it to what we want it to be.
Yeah, but I do think that like explaining or like just suggesting like, oh, you should play these characters together, because
the weird thing about SPNatI Let's Plays is that you are supposed to masturbate to this game. And you're supposed to, okay, well, unless you're one of those people, you're supposed to do that alone. This is not a game you're supposed to play with an audience.
Yeah, no,
This is a
exactly.
very weird. Like, yeah, they're playing it and they're giving it a chance, but they're just kind of laughing at the dialogue. And like when the characters start dirty talking, like they're in a room, they're not masturbating, they're with someone, they're with a friend of theirs. Like I mean, obviously you're going to laugh at that. You can't take that seriously in that
Yeah,
context.
exactly.
Like that's not what those lines are written for. You're supposed to have your dick out. Which you can't do that with an audience. Do you want to? Do you want to listen to some guy doing this?
Some guy? No,
No.
I bet if you're a cute girl, there's an audience for that.
I mean, if you're a cute girl, you can get
there's an audience for that,
like...
and it's against Twitch's terms of service. There's no girls playing this game.
Yeah,
Joe, they don't exist.
We have several girls deving for this game.
Joe, I know they told you that birds aren't real, but the real meme is that women aren't real.
Oh fuck! How have I been fooled for so long?
Do you really think there's just people walking around that don't have like a dick and balls?
What guides them towards the future?
Exactly. It doesn't even make sense. Their balls are on their chest, and they're huge.
I feel like this could be a South Park episode.
I feel like it is a South Park episode.
Yeah. So you'll never get the true experience from a Let's Play. You know what I mean? Like what the game is actually trying to deliver. Because the only reaction you can have is to laugh at it. But this is not a game that you're expressly supposed to laugh at. That is not the point. You know?
Yeah, it's also a game you can play in like bite-sized bunches, right? You know, you don't really need a Let's Play to experience it.
Yeah.
Because it's free.
Maybe you watch a
not very
Let's
long,
Play
too.
and you see a character and you're like, oh. I think it's definitely it's good at it. Like gets people to know that it exists, and they laugh at it at first, and then they're like, oh wait, but actually does.
That's why so many people have trouble like writing dirty talk for their characters, because they're doing it when like they're not horny. You know, like you can't take that seriously, because of course it sounds ridiculous. You know, things that people say when they're drunk sounds ridiculous when you're sober. It's the same idea.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to say one good thing about writing Tomoko is that you don't really have to try. I mean, at least you do have to, but you're not trying to sound sexual. You're just trying to like, you can be cringy with it and it makes sense, you know.
Like
Yeah.
it is a little cringy. Of course it's cringy when you're not in the mood. No one's really proud of the thoughts that they have in that moment. That's why
post-nut clarity is such a zen moment.
It's like come on. It is supposed to be intimate. It is not something you're supposed to share with just anyone. Like, you know, that I know you're saying that to like drawings, but it's still like that biological thing is very much supposed to be like between two people, and like there is no audience, and you just can't have that with a Let's Play. You know,
Not yet, at least.
so you're not going to get a sense of like whether or not your character's actually like appealing to the casual player.
Alrighty. 4 more questions. What are your views on anthro characters? Should they be humanized or kept as is?
Real quick, before we get started, just so, because I'm not 100% sure what the context behind the question or the dialogue, or if there's a dialogue currently within the community on this topic, I was wondering if you guys could preface it with a summary of if there is one.
Do you know May from Night in the Woods?
No. Well, I know of the game and I've seen the character, but I don't know the character.
Have you seen the character in SPNatI?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what she looks like in canon.
Okay.
Let me just post it.
Is it the one where she has the bat?
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, that's
No,
quite
but she's
different.
not doing the George Costanza bat pose.
I'm trying to find that, but I can't.
I mean, in terms of anthropomorphized characters, we really just have Leggy, me, and Dust, right? They're the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. And they all kind of hit varying degrees of, I guess, furry bait.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, if people like that, then, fucking go for it, right?
Sorry.
Ask yourself, what are most of the Rule 34 portrayals of this character? Like, do people actually want to fuck Katme?
Some probably do.
No.
I guess that's technically breaking the rules of SPNatI, isn't it?
Humanoid. The Noid is the crucial part right there.
Dude, the Noid in SPNatI when?
You gotta avoid the Noid, though. Because otherwise he'll shoot up your restaurant.
He's gonna have an epilogue where he steals your pizza.
Do you not know the reason that the Noid was retired? Because
he was racist?
No.
Did he say something racist on Twitter 10 years ago?
No, there was some schizophrenic dude who had the name he's like Michael Noid, and they thought that he was talking about him, so he went in and he shot up a Pizza Hut or something.
That's sensible.
And so they're like, well, we can't use this character in good taste anymore.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, but yeah, in regards to, I'm just curious. So, in regards to the question,
wasn't it a Domino's?
I don't remember.
Or wasn't it a Domino's mascot?
I don't remember. Whatever it was, people died.
Well, should have delivered that pizza on time. Did you know that the Noid had an NES game called Yo Noid?
I've heard of that, yeah.
I've watched JonTron's videos.
JonTron made a video on that?
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
I haven't watched JonTron in years. Because he stopped being funny.
Yeah, he stopped making gaming videos. Anyway, how far should we go on the SPNatI scale?
What are the kind of a community, or the SPNatI community's kind of general thoughts, or that you've seen at least on this topic?
Most people aren't furries, so a lot of people like the more characters. I personally don't care.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of taste, really. Well, I think if you want people to really like your character, on average, making them a cute anime girl is gonna get you more responses, right? However, if you believe very strongly, hey, this character is way better being source relevant, and if you care strongly about it, then you definitely can do something like Dust and make it into the game. I think when you are doing something, you do have to try and make them conventionally attractive. Otherwise, nobody is going to be interested, and they're not going to make it through sponsorships.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's definitely something that I think it's whatever. It's yeah. I don't really have any strong opinions on it.
Yeah, I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
It really just comes down to, what do you think breaks the rules? Where's the line on anthro versus just...
Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot that was a rule thing for a second, even though we literally just said that.
Let me see.
A character cannot literally just be a wolf.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as long as they have,
Dust.
Where's that furry scale which everyone uses?
I'll
put it where is it?
Right down the middle.
No, it's on
I'd probably draw the line at
Yeah, there we go. Same hat!
Why is Delphox lighting number 2 on fire? That's very rude of her.
Round.
I think 2 is fine.
Yeah, 2 is probably fine.
2's fine. Maybe 3 if you gave her a shirt.
Yeah, once you start getting past that. Oh.
3 is still humanoid, arms and legs.
I couldn't handle it. It was too much.
Once you start getting past 3, you start entering probably more questionable territory with
Like
that
if
in
you
regards
if
to
you
the role.
removed like all the if it was like the silhouette, do they stand up? Do they look like a human?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because like Leggy is not far off from 3.
I guess
Yeah.
Leggy. Leggy is the line.
Because Leggy
Oh.
doesn't even have a human nose, and she has like hooves.
I don't know. It's not something that I think is a very personal thing, more so. But I also think, like, you definitely can't make a full furry character and then expect a lot of interest.
All right. What are your top 3 characters to reach the main game in 2019?
I had to look up the list for this because there's like a lot of them, especially recently.
It's easy for me because that's when I joined. I'd say the top 3 that I've seen that have entered the main game, just since I've been around, which isn't very long. I'd have to say, I think it was exciting to have kind of during the Masquerade to have Cosma being made at the same time as Megman and kind of having that back and forth kind of almost like competition between the two of us. So that was definitely fun. Gets me closer to my goal of having all the Konosuba characters in.
All of
He's
them.
going for the gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean, Aqua is already in development, and I'm going to be working on Darkness, so that will complete the MC cast. Which is what I meant when I said all. I didn't mean literally every single one. Other than that, though, it's hard for me to say top favorites, because at least the ones that have come out while I've been here haven't been out long enough for me to develop really strong opinions on them yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the only one I can actually say for sure is Meganum. Because, again, I joined maybe like a month ago, so Meganum and I think probably Rin are like the 2 standouts for me.
Oh, right,
Yeah, I
yeah,
know, came
Rin
in.
was good.
But those are like the only 2 I can say for Saren. I don't know which other characters came out in 2019, so a lot of these characters are just completely new to me. Like,
Ryuko.
oh, Ryoko would probably be in.
It's all 3 of my picks. No bias.
I'm gonna say
No collusion.
Megumin, the Chazz, and either Emmy or Pinkie Pie.
Yeah, no, Emmy's
Pinkie
pretty
Pie was
interesting.
2018.
Was she?
Yes, at the very end.
Oh, that's fucked up. Fucked up. Spnanon.
Yeah. Biko was at the beginning of 2019. I really like her. Just for the cleverness of her writing.
Wait, Miko? The Toho?
Yeah.
That was 2019? That was after Pinkie
Yes.
Pie? Time's bullshit.
Yeah, no, I've started targeting Miko a bit and talking with the writer, and that's been kind of fun.
Yeah. Eni was the same day. And she's great too. Love Eni. Cammy White, it was great to see Metal Tara abandon that stupid gimmick that she had and make an actual proper character. Sakura is a ton of fun. Caulifla has some great animations. Let's see. Emmy's
Mae's
great.
really good.
Jessie has a ton of work put into her. Megamine, Starfire, love them. They're probably and Elesa. They're probably my 3 favorites out of the Masquerade.
Mako from Little Witch Academia, was she done this year?
Yeah, Estelle's
she's
cute.
really good.
Rarity has some great artwork. We have a lot of gems. There's a bunch of that I didn't even mention just because I'm not going to list every single one. But yeah, a lot of strong newcomers, really raising the bar, and a lot of them. We had so few characters, relatively speaking, in like the first half of this year, and so many in these last few months.
Was it maybe because of the Masquerade, or?
Oh, it's absolutely because of the Masquerade.
Yeah.
What is your process for when you want to target a character but don't know anything about them, or their source.
This is actually one I had quite a few thoughts on, because I think when I get started, if it's a character I don't know, the most important thing I feel like is to talk with the creator. Like, you can look up some stuff and whatnot, but ultimately, we try our best, but every character we make is not going to be an exact replica of the character from the source. We're going to have a bit of our own bias or our own kind of personality or opinion seep in a little bit, and there's also different aspects of characters you can focus more on than others. So I feel like just kind of talking a little bit with the person who made a character is the best way to kind of get an idea of what this SPNatI character is like,
Play a game with them.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. I usually go into. I like to look at the other targeted lines towards them, see what other people have been kind of bringing up. Like, I go into like Banter Withered and kind of look for that, and then sometimes I'll like read a Wikipedia article on them if I still can't think of anything, and then sometimes I'll just like sit there for a bit, write different lines, delete the ones that aren't good. Just workshop it really. And a lot of the time, I'll like message a creator and be like, "Hey, what do you say? Do you have any ideas of something we can do?" I think just collaboration with different creators is probably one of the best ways to do it. Honestly,
Mm-hmm. I know there's a lot of characters in this game, and targeting as many as you can is it's so much more rewarding than you think it's going to be, just because of how much you're going to learn just by osmosis about all their source material and how many new shows you can find as a result.
Mm-hmm.
New source material. Obviously, the best way is to play a game with them. I know that's not always an option, especially time-wise. But the first thing you do is just read their description. I feel like nobody does that. If you can't get enough to work with like their description and just kind of biting the writing bullet and just having them assume a little bit about them already, or assume a little bit of knowledge. If the description says they're a celebrity or a superhero, then it's okay to just bring that up without them doing so.
Yeah.
Like, the information is there, available to the player. If you really want to, like, it's not really that bad. A lot of people seem to get hung up on this idea that that they're going in completely stone cold, blank slate, and then like they can't know anything about each other, and like they have to mention anything about themselves before you can bring it up. And it's like, if it's in the description, I say it's fair game.
Yeah, I don't see many people getting like mad that, hey, how does the Tomoko know that this person is a fucking like
I know,
like a Pokemon trainer? And I'm like,
She read their manga.
Cool. She plays the games. Don't worry, it's fine. Like, why is Tomoko not freaking out that these people are magical? I could do that for every time someone magical shows up.
But then you're
I know,
just
but
freaking
that's
out
just
at
the
everything.
It's the same thing every time then.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm just like, yeah, no, Tomoko's just going to talk about magic like it's normal. Cause, like, maybe she'll go, that's a bit weird, but I don't think her getting, like, fucking, like, having, like, hundreds of lines going, now teach me about your magic is that entertaining to read.
Yeah. At a certain point, your character just needs to accept things that are not in their universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when I was writing Megman towards the beginning, I started falling into that trap and overthinking it way too much. And then I was like, as I got more into the flow of writing, I was like, I really, it's a lot more fun and entertaining to read the lines when she has something more to say than constantly questioning it. So started focusing on that. That definitely felt a lot better.
And if your character is the kind of person who would make very superficial observations about someone's appearance, then yes, you can target their appearance just for a starting point.
Yeah.
Don't continuously do that for every single stage, because it's really boring to only talk about their appearance.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to start somewhere, you can do that. If you don't have enough to work with to at least go somewhere with it based on their description, then that's on the character's writer, because they didn't give them good description. the description is meant to inform people who don't know about the character. That is the point.
Yeah.
I always hate it when they have a bad description.
Like
who are you writing that for?
your characters don't know anything about their source unless they're from the same franchise, in which case you should probably know about their source. But if your characters don't know, then you probably don't need to know everything about the character, do you? You can keep out of character knowledge and in-character knowledge.
It's okay to act as if they're strangers. It is also okay that if you can assume a little bit of knowledge based on that description. But it's not a hard and fast one approach that you have to take for every character. If you have a little bit less to work with, then you can go based on appearance. Just, do whatever you can.
For sure.
And just make an effort, Like it means so much to a creator to see that you've taken a genuine interest in their character. And that's how you endear yourself to them, and that's how you get lines coming in for your character. Is that you've shown that you're interested. That's kind of why I think people react really negatively to like OC. Because it gives off the impression that you don't care about other characters. You just want to kind of peddle your own character.
I can see that.
All right. Last question. Who do you think are the perfect devs for their characters? Like, if anyone in the world but X made Y, they just wouldn't be.
I have a very quick answer for that, and first off, I want to preface this saying I'm not saying this just because the person's in the chat, but I have to say Jura and May, because I have never heard of them or anything about their source ever before, and playing with
Join
them.
the club.
Yeah, no, but playing with them made them like characters that I actually really enjoy, including despite the fact that I have no idea about their source, just because it's just written really well. I don't feel like I feel like that would have been a really hard challenge for a lot of people to accomplish.
Hey, I wrote a description, so you should know what the source is about.
Yeah, well, yeah, know that much at least.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, any kind of niche character like that, I think a developer has to know them well to even write them well. So,
I don't know. This question's presuming a lot about what we think we know about the devs and the characters. I'm sure there's plenty that could have done a good job as long as they knew the character in the first place.
Yeah.
Maybe not the job I would have done. That's why I don't really collab with people, because creative differences and all that.
Yep.
But it's not saying it would be bad.
But yeah,
nothing really comes to mind for me.
I zoned out. I've forgotten everything. Who are you people? What were we talking about?
Joe,
we were
I'm
just
your
about to
father.
end.
Right. I think that Solitaire is Miko. So.
Well, again, Toho is kind of like a windowless van, just like Chazz. I keep looking at it, and it keeps changing form every time I do. My brain can't get a consistent image of what Toho is. So yeah, it's got to be someone who's already drank the Kool-Aid. So you say Solitaire is Miko. I have no fucking clue what Miko is. So,
well, he said it. Miko is Solitaire.
Yeah, exactly.
Is Solitaire a 1400-year-old Japanese emperor disguised as a woman disguised as a man?
Quite possibly.
We need to research this.
Does Solitaire's wife have big tits and no legs?
I see that we've all gone quiet, so I guess that we're
Well, not quiet, just the nice ASMR sound.
Of my
In the
chair squeaking,
background.
yeah. Do you like that? What
Oh,
can I
God.
say?
I'm gonna unroll some duct tape.
ASMR disturbs me.
Tap my fingers on my computer tower.
When are we getting some SPNatI ASMR, guys?
I can never get into it.
We'd double the play statistics if we could get some ASMR background.
Yeah, exactly.
Sound of cards shuffling.
Sound of someone smacking their lips next on
Fingers going in and out of various orifices.
Which would be the best?
That satisfying squelch.
Which would be the best ASMR update, like character?
Neo.
Moon with smell-o-vision.
Oh no, please no. I beg you. Maybe like a Wii Fit trainer and they just say like shit like keep it up.
You're doing great.
I just want to hear Tomoko's gravelly voice trying to do ASMR.
Oh god.
Talking about the shits she's taken.
Oh
Yeah.
no. That was the line about that does come from Tim. Please don't blame me.
That comes from the source.
It does also come from the source.
Yeah, it comes from both.
But I didn't write it, so I'm fine.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have left for. Or that's all the questions we have for this
Hey,
episode.
under 10 hours or under 3 hours. Under 10 hours.
Yeah, now we finally got
Under
one
3 hours.
So, Stuart, Wibbly, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, no, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's honestly just getting to know everyone in the community. It's been a very welcoming and fun community, and I really enjoy hanging out with everyone here.
Yeah, have you back on the cast anytime, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. Both of you.
Yeah, both of you.
Spnanon, thank you for showing up eventually.
Shit, I got other stuff to do.
At your leisure.
I just forgot.
Dude, don't worry, you can just watch back the first part of the podcast and see what you missed. I'm sure Joe can put some editing to make it seem like you're here the whole time.
Just put like a cardboard cutout of his profile picture.
Yeah.
I'll just edit in I'll just edit in like quiet Spnanon audio from previous episodes.
Mash words together from different audio clips.
Alright, well, thank you guys
Here
for
is
listening.
what I think of Rin.
We will see you on the next episode.
Alright.
But yeah.
So
What
people
about
still like her.
we do like Tatsumaki, but we give her like massive long legs, like Electra or I've already forgotten her name.
Her upper body is outside the game box.
Yeah, her legs are just massive.
There's a famous panel in like One Punch Man, the webcomic at least, because the manga hasn't gotten to it yet, where like her head, it's like talking about how far above her sister is, or how above she is, like compared to her sister, and like how she's like already developed all these techniques without even realizing it, and it's just like her head like extending beyond the page. Like it's just a normal face, and then her head is like a pillar. That just like keeps going off the panel.
Yeah, I really do like the kind of One Punch Man, how they do that kind of art style,
So,
like their kind of visual humor.
yeah, you wonder how Murata is going to adapt something like that into his very detailed style. Sometimes he just draws chibi Tatsumaki because like it would ruin the joke to not do that.
Yeah.
All right.
Who's excited for the chapters where she gets punched in the face?
Dude, I am so excited for the upcoming manga chapters.
Where
like
she gets fucking
unbelievably
Riona.
so.
What now?
But I won't spoil it.
What now?
I'm really excited for the upcoming manga chapters. Gonna be some
what is
good
it?
shit.
Dark Shine versus Garo?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's coming up soon.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I was just excited for all the shots we got of Fubuki last chapter. Plus, she was bleeding out the nose and the eye, and on the verge of a brain aneurysm from trying to block huge explosions. So if you're into that,
Yeah, no.
Oh.
There's probably someone.
Yeah,
but
there's
good
someone
for her.
everything.
Good for her. She was doing her best. She did something, and then Bang
That's
and
what
Bomb
counts.
just completely trolled her.
I hardly. Okay, this is probably going off topic for.
Don't
That's
worry,
what I
it
do best.
happens.
Okay. We can just cut out, right?
It gets moved to the end.
Lame.
Okay. No,
That's-
I'm a big fan of the webcomic.